Rick Venturi coming up at 4:30 today. But that was about survival yesterday. Survival, remaining on top. As you saw yesterday, everybody within the division won. I mean, you talk about a clinker. I mean, you thought week one and kind of giving that one away in L.A. was bad, or, back in September here versus Oakland was bad. Yesterday would have been bad. I mean, think about that. Yesterday would have been bad. You lose that game. Vinatieri doesn't get that thing through. You lose that game. And then Denver goes back home, and they're going to start some dude named Brandon Allen? Or who the hell is that? Because Joe Flacco's got an injured neck. And really, Denver had how many? They have over 100 opportunities, it seemed, and just didn't really go for it. I thought Denver oftentimes, as much as they were taken away, Colts-wise, defensively especially, but I thought offensively, who cares? I mean, you're a 2-win team to this point. Who gives a crap? Just go. Go for it. And they didn't, and the Colts survived, and that is going to be one. I say this all the time, in a season, and who knows what the season's going to hold. I don't know how it's going to transpire. I mean, you hope for the best. But in a championship type of season, let's say, or in a high-level season completion, you look back on a time or two over the course of the season, and you go, you know what, that was a signature moment. And I know it was crappy yesterday, but yesterday was going to be a signature moment. You go, oh, yeah, that one. Where they barely survived. They barely beat Joe Flacco, limping around. Where Rock Yassin got flagged 4 times in a game. I think it was Garrett Bowles, right, on the left side of the offensive line of the Broncos. He got flagged 4 times earlier this season. Man, Rock needs to get back on the field to try to forget that thing ASAP, too, because that was ugly. And to me, the best part about it was this, is without Jacoby Brissett, especially late making plays, that doesn't happen. That kick doesn't happen. And I thought Jacoby showed folks out there that might be doubters about him to this point yet another layer, getting out, not turning into Dan Orlovsky, friend of the show, but not turning into Dan Orlovsky and running out of the end zone, eluding Von Miller, which, by the way, is not easy to do. When they always say, well, Jacoby Brissett, he's not that athletic, but, hell, you're right. You have to elude Von Miller as he did and get out and then throw a 35-yard strike to T.Y. Hilton going out of bounds, which, besides the kick to win, it was the play of the game. That is worthy of a holy crap right there, Matt Taylor. It is. That was a hell of a play. So, that's going to be memorable for a lot of reasons. And it was an ugly game, and you guys were probably pulling your hair out. Hopefully a lot of you were really hammered and had a great ride home. Got a Lyft or an Uber or whatever you do from a game day experience. But, damn, that is going to be memorable. Maybe not for consistently all the right reasons, but ultimately the right reason. And that is a win. Because you look back on that as a loss, and that is UGLY right there. That's going to stick with you. That's like a zit on the tip of your nose going to the prom. No way to get around it. So if you guys want to discuss it, we can. Yeah, Matt Taylor absolutely wanted to say, holy crap there. There's no doubt. Now, listen, if I get him on here, he'll deny it, but he wanted to say, holy my. He wanted to say, holy crap. I'll give it up to him, by the way. Hey, speaking of Matt, we had the conversation on Friday, right? And I told Matt, and I gave him a multiple choice because I told Matt I had a right headlight out that on the way over to that place, which I love, on the way over there, I realized I had a right headlight out, and I said, Matt, I got to go back down 37. I am going to be pulled over tonight. We kind of laughed about it. I gave him a multiple choice of, what's going to transpire here? Am I going to get it fixed with the great folks at CarX? Am I going to fix it myself? We knew that wasn't going to happen. Am I going to have Jeff Watson, my neighbor, fix it, which is ultimately what happened? Or am I just going to go ahead and keep it out? But I did say, hey, Johnson County Popo, I'm going to be rolling south at about 8 o'clock on 37. So if you see a dude riding down there in a white Tundra with a right headlight out, please give the dude a pass. I swear to you, right in the exact spot I told Matt Taylor, lights go down, sirens come on, I get pulled over. I swear to you. Pulled damn over, right? Just like I called it. I got home and my wife says, why don't you call like the lottery or something like that? Why don't you call something else? I mean, look at some of your picks week after week. Why don't you call it that? I mean, the one thing you're right about is getting pulled over on your way home. And I did. And he came by, and my man took a picture of us, which was classic. I mean, absolutely classic. But I called him. We'll get Matt on later on this week when he doesn't have a lot to do, and we'll talk about that. But it was hilarious. I called Matt and called Kyle and said, hey, man, like I told you, I got pulled over. Hey, listen, I know my 37. I know my 37 from about County Line to Smith Valley all the way down to the county line there. I know it. Anywhere between County Line and 144, I know what's happening there. Nah, but they were really nice, and I do appreciate that. All in all, it was a really good weekend. Props to Tom Allen and the IU football program. And I'm sorry, listen, I know that you can break it down every different way and say, well, I mean, look who they've beaten. I mean, it's IU football. They get 6 wins and become bowl eligible before November. Holy hell. Let everybody have a little bit of a party on this, okay? It's IU football. They're trying to grow this thing, and this is a part of the growth. All they're doing is what we've talked about so far. You beat the beatables. You beat the Beatles. It'd be great if they could get a top 25 team. It'd be great if they could get a better team than, what Nebraska looked like on the road. But, man, those are taking steps forward. And for one, I'm happy for Tom, and I'm happy for that football team. I'm happy for those fans. And you guys should go down there because it's a 7 o'clock start on Saturday and have one hellaciously outrageous tailgate party. I mean, Bloomington on a Saturday night for football, and you're already bowl eligible. I mean, trip the light. Fantastic, everybody. Seriously, though, it was impressive. They had a number of opportunities. Whether you're talking about a first or a second or a third-string quarterback with the Cornhuskers, they had a number of opportunities to do you as IU football has done you. And they didn't. And a shout to Peyton Ramsey, who played really well. He liked not to have the defense give up a couple of 1,000 yards, but they won on the road, bowl eligible. Soak that up and have some fun with it. We always have, here's the dark. I mean, no, the bright side that's the bright side. That is the bright side. It's about part about giving people there something to embrace. You're giving them something to embrace. Well, you know who they've beaten? Yeah, I know who they've beaten. I mean, we pay attention every weekend. But quick shout to them for that, too. Things continue to go down. That was just, I don't know what was worse. I mean, the whole game itself, the way Purdue played, the weather conditions, same goes for Notre Dame on the road at the Big House against Michigan. Weather conditions, bad. Fighting Irish, bad. I swear to you last night, was I dreaming or did I see some naked thingies during the World Series? If you can't get, I'm telling you, I was watching last night and I said, did I just see some thingies? I thought I just saw some thingies. And normally when you see thingies in that environment, they're not really the type of thingies that you want to see. Those were the type of thingies that I was proud to see. I was happy to see these thingies. I went, yeah. Wait a minute. What was that again? I saw both chicks that decided to release the hounds last night during the World Series, which I thought was awesome. I'm telling you what, I would much rather see that and all these fat dudes roaming around, you know what I mean, with no shirt on. I would much rather see that. Start banning all these fat guys. All the shirtless dudes rolling around. Ban them. They banned these 2 chicks last night, I guess, MLB. Hell, I'd have put him right back behind home plate again. I'd rather see those than I would Marlins, man. Seriously. That was like a little bit of a surprise. I went, yeah! Thought I was watching old school Skinamax or something last night. We can talk about that if you like, too. The World Series, you know what's so funny about this? Normally you would say you get road teams winning all games. You go, that is outrageous. That is outlandish. As outrageous and as outlandish as seeing thingies behind the plate during a World Series game. Yeah, outrageous. I can't believe. But, I mean, you can see this thing coming, right? I mean, all of a sudden, Houston's not going to turn into this top-to-bottom stacked team and just go away with a whimper. I mean, this one, I'm not going to suggest that everybody had it called or should have it called, but it wasn't out of the realm. And then you couldn't go last night to Scherzer, which just absolutely has to suck. If you're a Nationals fan or if you got money riding on the Nats, that had to stink. But all in all, it's been pretty enjoyable, I think. I do. Pork Chop says on the telecast they called them, I think it was, what's his name? Josh, who's the dude that did the broadcast on CBS? I like him a lot. It was Dan Fouts, and I can't think of his name right now because I'm locked in on thingies. My bad. God, get off. Come on. Got to clear my head for a moment. You ever get locked in on something and go, oh, man, I can't. Wait a minute. What's my mom's name again? So locked in. At any rate, I thought yesterday was huge for the Colts. This weekend was huge for IU. We have been entertained. I got to thank you guys because I had a great weekend, starting at that place on Friday, then getting pulled over. I had Chick-fil-A and groceries in the car. Seriously, I go, this Chick-fil-A right here. But shout out to Justin for the picture, man. That was outstanding. I didn't put him. I actually tweeted out the picture being taken, but I don't know. I don't want to tweet on my Twitter account somebody's photograph. I didn't say, hey, you know what? I'm going to put this up here. So I didn't do it that way. Saturday, I did a B105.7 takeover, and it was awesome. You will never, ever hear Houdini on that station again. I gave you a little Freaks Come Out at Night. Yeah, it was fun. Yes?
It was an Iron Eagle on the call.
Iron Eagle. I'm sorry, guys. I start thinking about thingies, and I can't think of Iron Eagle. You guys are wonderful. Thank you. But all of you listened, and I think we're going to do some more of these. I got a 90s one, I think, coming up at some point, a little Saturday night party, all request on B105.7. That was a good time. I thank you for that, too. Had a great Colts pregame yesterday. Bullseye was packed. Great time down at the Bullseye Event Center. If you were there yesterday, I saw a lot of people that listen to the show. I love it. That place is packed with people that listen to the show. Or if they don't, they're drunk and they lie to me that they listen to the show. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It makes me feel really good. Lie to me, if you like. Makes me feel really good. Connecticut Water question of the day. All right, trade deadline is nearing. Should the Colts make a play for former Boilermaker standout Ryan Kerrigan? You're asking me because I put it up there if I've heard anything. The only thing that has actually come out is the fact that I think it was Lockenfora that mentioned the Colts. And I don't know a great deal about Lockenfora other than I don't know that he's right all that often, but he is locked into the Beltway. And what I mean by that is he always has decent news about Baltimore or decent news about Washington. So there may be something there. I'm not sure. Kerrigan's 31, got 2 years remaining. That's a lot of money. You would have Houston and Kerrigan at 30 and 31. You guys digging on that. Some of you would rather have Vic Beasley. A lot of you would just stand pat. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if Chris Ballard would pull the trigger on that. I would be shocked. But as we have talked about, it certainly seems as if it is something that is necessary. Because that is a consistency that Kerrigan has been able to do. And do historically on a bad Washington team while he's been there. So for that, I mean, is it worthy of taking a look? Is it worthy of giving a lot up? I mean, you okay for just a quick hitter here? Because it goes completely against the grain of the blueprint that they put out over there, which has worked fantastically so far. But at the same time, the ultimate blueprint is about winning. And will it help you win? That is the Connecticut Water question of the day up there. Come on. Engel puke? That's not funny. JMV, did you happen to see the topless girls behind home plate last night? Who do you think show this is? Who are you tweeting? Did I see topless girls behind home plate last night? Who do you think, Todd, you're talking to? Of course I saw topless girls behind home plate last night. Listen, if somebody is topless around, I'm going to probably see it. Just so you know. Thank you, Todd. That is pretty funny. It is pretty funny. All right, I want to open it up to some calls because here's what's happening today. Oh, you guys want me to go in on the Pacers too? All right, here's some thoughts on two games of the Pacers, which the first two games have been absolutely, positively unwatchable. Unwatchable. I would rather watch Malcolm Brogdon run around out there 1-on-5 than I would what I've been seeing through two games. Seriously. In the first game, I was pretty happy with Sabonis and Turner, with the exception of Andre Drummond turned into Wilt Chamberlain in that opener last Wednesday. I'm sorry. I can't give anybody any slack when you're getting worked by Tristan Thompson. I can't do it. And that is the biggest part of the problem right now. And I know that the offense isn't there. I know that they're clunky. I know there's no cohesion, and that is expected. But for the love of all of this, holy, 119 and 110 you give up in two games. Guard somebody. I mean, you could do that. You can do that. Hell, I'd rather see him play a damn zone. I mean, worked over. Worked over. Yeah, I know everybody wants to get on, well, this, and it's not going to work. I have been willing, and I am willing to look at it, but that's tough to watch. That game on Saturday night, I was doing the all-request show down the hall here, and the TV, I go, you got to be kidding me. They could not stop anything. Anything. Well, they pulled within 9, and then it was Darius Garland nailed a corner 3. I mean, their fate was already sealed, but that was basically the closest that they got. I mean, maybe everybody's expecting way too much. Maybe I'm expecting too much from Miles. Maybe I'm expecting too much from the combination of Miles and Sabonis. And I'm not putting it all on them offensively, but defensively, you've got to show at some point a little bit of resistance and a little bit of pride. I think pride takes over when you've been worked on the interior as they have to this point. And I know that they still have hopefully. I mean, who out there? Let me see a show of hands. Who's missing Thaddeus Young right now? And I know that he doesn't help normally three-point shooting, but defensively, two games in which you've given up absolutely everything offensively. A show of hands of who misses Thaddeus Young right now through two games. Quick one. We'll come back. Colts Roundtable Live begins at 5:30. Rick Venturi joins me at 4:30. We'll take him for an hour. He'll tell you everything you need to know in really the most comprehensive Colts breakdown you are going to hear absolutely any place. Coming up at 4:30. I have chain smoker tickets for you. Not to be a chain smoker, but the group, the chain smokers. What's the other band? 5 Seconds to Summer or something like that? 20 minutes to summertime is going to be down here on the 7th November, Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Got tickets for that coming up a little bit later on in the show, but I want you at 239-1070. Anything that we've talked about to this point, the Colts at the top of the division. When you look around the AFC, look around the entire NFL. The AFC South the best division in the NFL right now? Look at it. Is the AFC South the best division in the NFL? I'll leave you with that and come back with your calls at 239-1070 next.
Listen every week during Colts season for the Beef Up Front Report with Big Joe Stasniak. Brought to you by Anthony's Chop House in Carmel at Main and the Monon.
I'll talk to Dad and we'll help you figure something out. Okay, bye.
Talk to me about what?
Nick has a fever. Can you believe his insurance won't even cover a basic doctor visit?
Oh, all right. Well, we'll help him out this time, but he's got to get some better benefits. This job isn't cutting it.
Susan's son just started as a union electrician apprentice.
Huh. I play golf with a couple of union guys. They say it's great. One of them's even about to retire early.
I'm calling Nick back. He's got to hear this.
This is Steve Minzer, business manager for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 481. Being a union electrician is rewarding. Our members earn good pay, full health care, and benefits that allow many to retire before the age of 60. Plus, our hands-on craftsmen get to see what they accomplish daily, something not always visible with a desk job. So if this sort of career sounds like a fit for a young person you know, someone reliable with a good attitude, learn more at ibew481.org.
Hey, it's John from PAI. It's WeGrowHairIndy.com. Shot a new commercial over the weekend, too. You're going to see it with me and Rick DeMoling, the former Colts offensive lineman. Be that as it may, here's why I'm here for you, too. Fellas, if you want your real growing hair back again and you want it real and not fake, WeGrowHairIndy.com is the place. Call Darren. Get that private consultation, 888-724-5129. Again, 888-724-5129. If you want your real growing hair again, it can happen with PAI. Online now, WeGrowHairIndy.com.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning. Robert Kirby says they sell the American Standard brand because American Standard listens to the techs who install and service their products.
We went down to the factory and they want your feedback. Being in the field, you can actually see some things that they could change on the product to make it better. And right there on the line, I mean, they actually take your input.
Call Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning at 317-892-3614. Kirby is your trusted local independent American Standard dealer.
With mortgage rates in the twos, you have choices. Lower your monthly payment, pay off credit cards, buy a new house. Golden Oak Lending has lowered mortgage rates to 2.875.
And that's a fixed rate. This is James Hawkins. If you're struggling with credit card debt, we can help you pay it off at a low rate.
At 2.875, now's the time to fix the house. Finish the basement. You have so many choices.
We're easy to work with, and we'll give you a free mortgage checkup right over the phone, so you can find out exactly how much you can save. Or apply online at goldenoaklending.com with our fast Zipline mortgage.
Call our Indy office at 317-706-GOLD. 706-GOLD.
Our experts will walk you through it all, and if we can't close your loan, the appraisal is no charge.
Golden Oak Lending, join my blues.
NMLS 114937, FHA 15-year fixed, APR 3.915, 20% equity with approved credit. Regulated by the Indiana Department of Financial Institutions.
Hey, it's John for Love Heating and Air Conditioning. John and Chris on board with the show. Thank you guys, too. Let me tell you, I love local. I love you guys. I love local. I love local folks. And love has been around here since 1920. How about that for local? How about that for longevity? That means the confidence and the trust of the folks around here is what they have built since that time. And I'm glad they're on board with me. And I want you to think about this for a moment, all right? We're getting now colder. We're going to get into the winter months coming up, too. Make sure your furnace, your heating unit is ready to go. And right now, the JMV special is $64.95. You're going to get a clean sweep of that heating unit right now. $64.95. Just ask for the JMV special. That's love-hvac.com. Tell them thanks for being a part of the show. Love-hvac.com today.
Monday Night Football in Pittsburgh between the Steelers and the Dolphins. Steelers heavy favorites going into this one. Steve Berry from the Sports Plus Network. What do you like?
Joey, this is going to be an interesting game. Miami coming into Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh laying 14. The total's 43. Miami not going anywhere this year, and Pittsburgh is right behind them. But just remember this, even in these big line games, every game is a money-making opportunity. Be very wary of huge lines. Last Thursday, Minnesota minus 17, only won 19-9. Now, these big lines can go either way. If you called us on Monday last week, you got the easy winner, New England, New York Jet, 33-0. Very, very easy winner. Guys, make the call. We'll tell you who's going to win. We'll tell you why they're going to win. This can be a money-making opportunity. Give us a call, 1-888-895-6555. Miami-Pittsburgh winner at no charge from Sports Plus Network.
Tuesdays are the worst. They're all that stands between you and the downhill part of the week. But now they're a lot less worse, because Wing Tuesdays at B-Dubs are buy one, get one free traditional wings. So Monday, you may kick off the week. Wednesday, you may have a cool nickname. Thursday, you might be the almost weekend. But watch your back, because Tuesdays just officially became Wing Tuesdays. Buffalo Wild Wings. Roar! Buy one traditional wings order and get one of equal value free. Participation and promotional details vary by location. Check in with your favorite Buffalo Wild Wings to learn more about this offer.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Right now, save up to $120 off select sets of tires. Only at your local Big O Tires. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
The Ride with JMV.
You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of damn nerds.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
He's got 2 touchdown passes in at least 5 games on the season. He drops the throw here. He's at the goal line. Now he somehow gets out of a tackle. Now he's going to roll to the right side, throws upfield. Caught by T.Y. at the 45-yard line. That's a catch for T.Y. A sensational grab for the Ghost. First down, Colts.
Play the game right there. Outside of Vinatieri knocking in the game winner. Let's see. Farm Credit Union Dream Moment. Presented by Farm Credit Union, helping members live their financial dreams every day. Matt Taylor, Colts Radio on the call right there. That was the big play. And again, tip of the cap to Jacoby Brissett. He made plays. He's the reason why they got in that position. I mean, he does. He continues each and every game. Last week we saw the game on his shoulders through the air, over 300 yards, 4 TDs. AFC Offensive Player of the Week, and then he did some things under severe duress, not only individually for him, but his entire team, really. I mean, it's an ugly game. Well, these things are, when you survive in a game like that, that becomes as important as going into Kansas City and doing what they did a couple of weeks ago to the Chiefs. Let me take that back. As important as memorable. I mean, it's great. Going in there and doing that to the Chiefs, what they did at Arrowhead on Sunday night, but surviving what was a near catastrophe in arguably, or maybe not arguably, the best division in the NFL to this point, that's what makes it memorable. I mean, the game was sloppy and what the hell are we calling the Pacers so far? Clunky? That's what I'm calling them. Dustin Craig called them clunky. JMV, maybe you can ask the coach, but Wilson being scratched and Kane was interesting yesterday, especially with what you got out of Rock Ya-Sin. That's probably one reason why Wilson's not going to go anywhere at the trade deadline. I think they're on the fence with him. There's no question. And they just like what everybody else is giving them over Kane. Now, I could understand Desir yesterday. We talked about this on the pregame show. I mean, he was dinged up, played through it last week, and they wanted to give him a week since, everybody in the secondary was so damn healthy. And everybody in the secondary was so damn healthy, you had the opportunity to deactivate Wilson, even though he is healthy for that game. But, yeah, I mean, Rock Ya-Sin, Cortland Sutton had ownership of him yesterday. There's no question. 239-1070 is the number. Let's get to Mike. Mike, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, good, JMV. Just wanted to give you a little bit of food for thought here.
Sure.
On Ryan Kerrigan, I am a big Boilermaker fan, have been for years. When he went to Washington, I really didn't like that draft choice that, I really didn't want him going there because, let's face it, in my opinion, the Redskins haven't had anything to offer to anybody since John Riggins' days. But, Ryan goes out day in, day out, gives you 110%, stays healthy probably 95% of the time. And I think if you put him opposite of Houston, my gosh, the only way you could get better at that position if you get J.J. Watt up here. But, that's not going to happen.
And you got both dudes are 30 and 31 years old, though.
Well,
and this goes, really, Justin Houston went against the grain of what we thought, they wanted to do organizationally, but they needed somebody with consistent pressure, and he has given a lot of that so far. And, 30, Kerrigan 31, couple of years in the contract remaining. You'd like that better than a guy, say, Vic Beasley. And again, to me, I don't think they pull the trigger on anything. This is just kind of throwing stuff out there prior to the trade deadline.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you kind of go with the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I don't know. We'll let that lie. But on the Pacers deal, 0-2, I think they're missing their floor leader. You got to have Vic out there, even if he doesn't get 20, 25 points a game. I think just his presence on the floor is enough to rally the troops. When they get down 6, 8, 10, 12 points, I think his presence on the floor is enough to bring them out of whatever funk they're in and bring home a win. But I think once he gets back healthy, I think you're going to see a whole different Pacers team on the floor. I like the additions that they made during the offseason. I think they're just might be maybe still a year away from, making that trip back to the finals.
Hey, Mike, thank you for the call. Appreciate you. And while there's no question they miss Vic, to me, through the first two games, and they didn't shoot it very well, but they still scored, $110 in that opener. You're still wanting them to shoot threes, and that's still – I'd have to look at the percentages through two games. But to me, it's been defensively. And when you lose Thaddeus Young defensively and that leadership quality, I think that has been a huge missing piece. Bojan Bogdanović could be counted on in either capacity. There's no question. But to me, Thaddeus Young so far through two games has been the largest missing piece. Yeah, we could debate about that forever. JMV, forget to turn the YouTube camera on. Is it on right now? I don't know. I've been picking my nose and everything, so I hope it's not. This is from Andrew. I can't speak to how Kerrigan is now, but when he was at Purdue, he was the only good player, and no one could stop him. 31 years old now, had 13 sacks a year ago. I think he has 2 so far. Consistent pressure is a quality that he would bring to the table, which I think is a necessity for this defense. I mean, listen, to me, they have the assets to do something like that. I just don't know if that follows the protocol in which they've established. I mean, to me, that's thinking way outside the box for how this group thinks. But at the same time, you look at J.J. Watt going down in Houston. I mean, you look at the competitive level of the South. You look at now the winnability as far as getting to the elite level in the AFC. Maybe you want to pull that trigger. Maybe you'd want to right now for a little bit more consistent help. Do I see it? No. Would I think about it? Absolutely. It's from Brian Hare. This is Beyond Vic. Not sure the solution. This is not it. Let's move Turner. I know you hate that. Nothing against him. We just need something different. Hey, listen. He had 25-9 in night number 1, which to me, unfortunately, got canceled out defensively because of what. Now, again, Miles and Domas couldn't do anything with Drummond, and we'll see if they can do anything with him tonight. But to me, it was more like the Cleveland game was more disappointing than anything. I mean, both. When you look at Domas and you look at Miles and the way they got worked over by Love and Tristan Thompson, I mean, come on. I mean, Love is good. Love can shoot. Love can do different things, but Tristan Thompson. Brian's at 239-1070. Brian, go ahead. How are you?
Hey, JMV. Hey, I saw you in Shelbyville a couple weeks ago. I couldn't really say anything. You were doing your thing. But
that's all right, Brian. I'm glad you showed up there. Do it again.
Yeah, give me a second to kind of unwind my thoughts here. But to me, the NFL team is, it's making hundreds of millions of dollars, and they have an obligation to put the best team, every team, and Irsay will spend the money. That's not debatable, but. How far are they under the cap? I mean, they were so far under the cap before Lefty fired.
And you're right. Not only are they under the cap.
I mean, that's criminal in my opinion.
Well, they're under the cap. They are under the cap, and they also have a lot of assets to utilize. Certainly more than anybody else out there. And you're right to mention this wouldn't be an Irsay thing. This is just, the thought process, the protocol, the blueprint, however you want to describe it. That this organizationally, what they've had under Chris Ballard so far here, they went against it a little bit with Justin Houston. Make no mistake about it, and it has paid off. I don't see why I don't see why you wouldn't feel good about trying to do this.
Yeah, I mean, the future is now. They have a great shot at the 2 seed. I mean, they play New England. Guess what? Stephon Gilmore, who they did not draft, is going to make T.Y. Hilton disappear. And then what do we do? I mean, the Colts don't have enough firepower. I was hoping Paris Campbell would turn into maybe because he was dynamic at Ohio State, but I was thinking, maybe he
You're not thinking when Devin Funchess comes back. You're not thinking when Devin Funchess comes back. That's not doing anything for you. Is what you're saying.
I don't know anything about Devin Funchess, to be honest. But I mean, like Emmanuel Sanders could have helped us. Go out and get a Von Miller. Go out and get a, we got the money.
I think they have to be available first. I don't think Von Miller's available, brother.
Well, he might be.
I'm just talking about available dudes right now.
The whole thing up in Denver too, But all right, thanks
Brian,
for your time.
see you again soon. Thank you. I don't think Von Miller's available. We're just talking about guys that are seemingly available. Like Leonard Williams was available. The Jets. He went to the Giants today. Vic Beasley, and I think they won a buttload down there in Atlanta for him. And Ryan Kerrigan. I haven't seen a price tag, and this is not my report. This is Jason Lockenfora that came up with that. And I don't know how accurate Jason Lockenfora has ever been, other than with stuff regarding the Ravens. But it is interesting to talk about, too. All right, quick one will come back. Braun on the other side. Me and you at 239-1070. I got stuff to give away, as I mentioned, too. We'll get to the Hoosiers and what was a fantastic weekend for them and IU football fans, the long-suffering IU football fans. And Rick Venturi is must listen at 4:30. Back with you next.
It's your chance to win a free entry into the 2019 Drumstick Dash presented by Wheeler Mission in Broad Ripple on Thanksgiving Day. Simply log on to 1075thefan.com.
Here's a quick rundown of what's going on at Arby's every day from 2 to 5 p.m. and after 9 p.m. Each of our sliders are $1. The warm cookies are $1. The soda is $1. The shakes $1. The parking free. The drive-thru paved. The curly fries $1. The ketchup all you can eat. Arby's, we have the meats.
Dollar price valid for small fries and drinks, snack shakes, and classic sliders. Available at participating locations for a limited time.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Reinhardt Heating and Cooling. Located out in Danville and serving Hendricks and surrounding counties, owner Danny Reinhardt says this truly is a family business.
My 3 children, Kevin, Corey, and Kim, they all work for me. I have another gentleman that's been with me since I started, Stumpy, and he still works for me. And then Brian come to work for us in 2006, and so we really, truly are a family business.
Give Reinhardt a call at 745-4526. Reinhardt is your trusted local independent American Standard dealer.
Warning. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Hey, Sean for Andy Moore, Toyota in Avon, 5 miles west of 465 on US 36. Online at AndyMooreToyota.com. His name is Ben Mendoza. Talk to Ben about the deals you can get at Indiana's best. And I mean, some of the greatest deals as we approach the holiday season, really the best you're going to find any place. And it's one-stop shopping because the folks you're dealing with have you in mind. It's the car buying experience that your grandparents used to get that you can have today. It is completely, and I mean utterly, a great experience. And sometimes in the past for you, maybe it hasn't been in other places. It will be at Indiana's best. Tell them I sent you. Andy Moore Toyota in Avon, 5 miles west of 465 on US 36.
If you're looking for a dependable pre-owned commercial work truck, one name says it all. Indy Trucks at 96th and Keystone or IndyTrucks.com. Box trucks, cargo vans, flatbeds. If it's a work truck you need, you'll find it at Indy Trucks. Plus, they're inspected, certified, and come with a 3,000-mile, 3-year repair warranty. Easy to get to and easy to work with at Indy Trucks at 96th and Keystone or IndyTrucks.com. Indy Trucks, we'll be looking for you.
At Dreyer & Reinbold Infiniti, you can purchase the 2019 QX80 with 0% APR for up to 60 months or 0.9% APR for up to 72 months. You can lease the 2019 QX50 Lux all-wheel drive for just $449 per month, then KF147088. Or you can lease the 2019 Q50 Lux all-wheel drive for just $369 per month, then KM558172. Leases based on 39 months, $2,500 down, 10,000 miles per year plus tax. No security deposit. Requires approved credit and $199 dealer dock fee. Offers expire at the end of the month. You can lease the 2019 Infiniti Q50 for $369, QX50 for $449 per month, or purchase the 2019 QX80 for as low as 0% APR. Dreyer & Reinbold Infiniti, I-465 in Keystone, and US 31 South in Greenwood.
Hey, John, for CarX is the location to get. I'm telling you, that's where I take my vehicle. Tires, I got tires on the Tundra. CarX, Micah 135 in Greenwood. All the Joe Childers run CarX locations. And now that has become the place for tires. It is the place to get anything mechanically done as well. It really is a beautiful thing. Plus this, always a place for brakes. With people you can count on, warranties, guarantees, great pricing, and just the timely service in this busy world that's necessary, and people you can trust. Your Joe Childers run CarX locations in Central Indiana. Tell them I sent you.
The Colts hit the road to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Coverage Sunday morning at 10 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
From 52, Adam Vinatieri lining it up. Here it is. Snap, ball down, kick is up. It's on its way, has the distance, and it is. It's good! It's good! Adam Vinatieri knocks it down, and the Colts have the lead! The Colts have the lead! From 52, the greatest of all time knocks it through, and the Colts lead it 15-13 with 22 seconds left. Holy my!
I love it. Holy my! Matt Taylor. Colts Radio with the call right there. Hey, you guys rocking FanDuel with me, by the way, too. Promo code JMV. Remember, get involved. FanDuel promo code JMV. I'll give you some more deals coming up later on this week for that. Can't wait for it. We bail early today. 5:30, Colts Roundtable live with Matt, Jim Sorgi, Joe Wrights, Frank Wright coming up at 5:30. Pacers and the Pistons coming up from Detroit tonight at 6:30. Your pregame coverage begins with Pat right here then. Meantime, Colts conversation. We can go casual. We can go debatable. We talked about Ryan Kerrigan, Vic Beasley. Thing of it is, we were just discussing this during the break, that there are no, big-time free agent, money wad type of guys. Next year, the year after this, you're going to have a load of dudes, right? What'd you mention? T.Y., Ryan Kelly,
Anthony Walker.
Anthony Walker's another one. But, you have the means, you have the money, you have the assets. If you feel like you want to do that right now, I mean, would Ryan Kerrigan, acquiring him, be the difference between the Colts being here compared to a little bit higher? You can't see me visually unless you're on YouTube right now. But is there a huge difference there? Is there a huge difference between him and what they already have on this roster? Huge difference between what they have on this roster and a guy like Vic Beasley. I believe Vic Beasley is just 27. Ryan Kerrigan, meantime, is 31. But now they have prepared themselves for an opportunity if they may believe that's the difference. We had a guy calling a moment ago that doesn't like the wide receiver position. You need something there. I don't think they're going to address that at all. I just think it's guys defensively, in particular, a guy like Kerrigan, who has just consistently gone after the quarterback and done that. 13 sacks a year ago, 31. Only signed up one more year. So a thought is there. That's the Connecticut Water question of the day at JMV 1070 if you need it. And Braun's at 239-1070 right now. Hello, Braun. How are you?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Hey, just want to talk about the lack of production out of the wide receiver position. I mean, we see T.Y., Doyle's getting some production for us, and Pascal, but, the rest of the guys, Campbell, we're not getting anything out of him. We're not getting anything out of Kane. His punch is going to be enough.
Well, I mean, I think, to me, and I didn't feel this way a year ago, as you probably know, but I think that they have enough. I'm not so worried about that, I guess. Maybe you got worried yesterday by virtue of the lack of production, the way that Denver blanketed it. I mean, Denver's really good, especially in the secondary defensively. And Vic Fangio, if he can do one thing, it may not be help out the quarterback and the offense as he didn't yesterday, but he can certainly coach up some defense. I just don't see the wide receiver as that big of an issue. To me, I'd be more of, check out Kerrigan, check out Beasley type of guy than I would anybody at wide receiver.
So with our run game, the way we are running the ball, the play action pass game should be there? Is it design, or is it just lack of an ability to get open?
I thought Denver took a lot of things away yesterday, Braun. I really did. And, that's something that we talked about with Rick last week, and, Joe Wright's hopped on the show. I mean, the one thing that folks have been impressed about with Denver, even though they have been disappointing as a 2-win team, was, what they were able to do defensively. And I thought there were times when they looked dominant, I thought. And people are going to laugh about it, but I thought that's how crappy they made that Colts offense look most of the game. So, to me, again, like the offensive line, for example. I mean, the offensive line, we have lauded it all season long as one of the best, and they looked far from that yesterday. And I thought, in large part, that had to do with Vic Fangio and what he did to coach up that Denver defense. And what he did there compared to what he does offensively, which was near nothing, not going for anything, was really odd. But defensively, he can get that done for sure.
Yeah, but when they're bringing, 6 or 7 guys in pressure and we got one-on-one matchups, guys have to be able to get open.
You would think so. Yeah, you would think. You would think. Yeah. Listen, man, it was a struggle yesterday. I didn't perceive yesterday's offensive struggle as, hey, you got to go out and get a wide receiver. I do, however, perceive the lack of consistent pressure and getting somebody that has been known throughout his career of doing that as a level of importance more than I do wide receiver, which ultimately, Braun, maybe it doesn't make any sense, but I guess sitting here right now makes sense to me.
But Kerrigan's production's gone down since he's been in the league every year.
Well, he had 13 and a half. He had 13 and a half a year ago, and they sucked a year ago. So I think he has 2 so far. I mean, it's a thought. I mean, there's no perfect set of circumstances here. I don't know if you bring him in, if all of a sudden you vault yourself up into a top 2 AFC team or what. But he has been known, and I think still can give consistent pressure. And probably would like to be on a nice team. I don't think they do it, but it's certainly something I would look into, Braun. Anything else?
I guess it's what it costs you to get him.
Yeah, and it's also how it affects your cap. In his case, it doesn't go past next year. I think he's got next year, and then it's over, and you can move on, right, Kyle? I believe for Kerrigan, does he have next year and then?
He's got the remainder of this year and then next year for $11 million, and then he's a free agent. So you just have him for this year and next year.
And I think Colts-wise, you're thinking 2 years down the road to when they get serious about having to sign some guys to some larger contracts. So, it would make some sense.
Giving up a draft pick or not, for a guy that.
Yeah, Braun, thank you for the call. Here's what's funny about it. And I heard Peter King talking about this morning, saying that a lot of general managers have kind of changed their tune on draft picks, and instead are maybe going more the trade route. And maybe that is happening. We've seen a lot of trades across the board and probably going to see a lot more. We saw Kenyon Drake go from Miami to the Cardinals, Leonard Williams from the Jets to the Giants. But the difference is that still does not seem to be the protocol here. I don't think that change in philosophy has occurred here, as, according to Peter King, apparently is done around the rest of the NFL. At least from what I gather. I don't think it's changed. It's from Stephen Terry. Hey, JMV, does Brissett struggle with pre-snap reads and adjusting his protections? I feel like some of the pressure was let in because of that failure. Am I wrong? That's something I'm going to ask Rick Venturi coming up at 4:30. I don't necessarily put it on his shoulders, but I'll ask Rick that and see what he thinks. Just a thought. I need to hit a break here. Is that what you said? All right, quick one. We'll come back. Todd, Chris, and more. Got plenty of time for you. If you want to go Colts, we can. Pacers, IU football, Boilermakers, Fighting Irish, disappointments this weekend, and World Series. We got a lot to knock out if you want here in the next 35-plus minutes, and Rick Venturi joins us for the segment you have to hear coming up at 4:30. Back with you next.
The 2019 Pacers season is underway.
Tapped up and in from the weak side.
The Blue and Gold have reloaded and look to challenge all comers in the Eastern Conference.
Where Sabonis grabbed it and dunked it as he was fouled.
Hear every game on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Next up, the Pacers head to Detroit to avenge their season-opening loss. Tonight at 6:30. Your home for Indiana Pacers basketball is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
John for PAI, WeGrowHairIndy.com, that private consultation. If you want your real growing hair back again, if that's a priority in your life, doesn't make you vain, you just have options. If that option is you, 888-724-5129, and let Darren tell you all about PRP, all about the different ways that they can re-inspire your hair growth. WeGrowHairIndy.com or 888-724-5129 today.
Monday Night Football in Pittsburgh tonight. The Steelers welcoming the woeful Dolphins. So we got to bring on Steve Barry from the Sports Plus Network to give us a little insight on tonight's matchup. Steve, big favorite here for the Steelers. What do we think about tonight?
Well, Joey, this is the same type of game that we discussed on Thursday, Minnesota-Washington. You got to watch out for these big lines. They can be very tricky. Thursday night, Minnesota was laying 17 to Washington. We had a big play for all our clients on Washington. Final score 19-9. Now, I'm not saying the same thing's going to happen tonight because Pittsburgh's laying 14, totals 43. Miami coming in at 0-6. They lost to Buffalo 31-21. Pittsburgh, not much behind Miami in the bad team department. They're 2-4. They just beat the Chargers 24-17. This is ending up week 8 of the season, and one of these teams not going anywhere, and the other team right behind them. Guys, before you touch this play tonight, give us a call, 1-888-895-6555. There's a reason for big lines, and there's a reason when big lines don't cover. Make the call. If you haven't called us before, do yourself and your wallet a huge favor. The call is free. The winner is free. Your profits are free. It's 1-888-895-6555. Last Monday night, if you called in, you got an easy winner. New England, New York Jets, final score 33-0. Make the call. Let us give you the winner tonight. You will call us back tomorrow to say thank you.
Steve, Mason Rudolph's supposed to be back for the Steelers tonight at quarterback after suffering that rough hit against Baltimore a couple weeks ago. How is that going to play into the line tonight?
Well, that's why the line is where it is. He will be playing. And on the other side of the ball, Fitzpatrick is playing for Miami, and he seems to have settled down their offense a little bit anyway, giving them a little help. Guys, when you look at the line on a game like this, just remember that every game is a money-making opportunity, no matter whether you're taking the points or giving the points. And whether you're coming off a great week like us or not, we have the answer. It's 1-888-895-6555. We will tell you who's going to win. We'll tell you why they're going to win. And there's no hype. There's no hassle. There's no obligation. You call up, you get the winner, cash your ticket tomorrow, call us back to say thank you. It's very, very simple. Make the call. Let us explain to you who's going to win and why they're going to win. That's the most important part. As I said, it doesn't matter about the line because every game is a money-making opportunity. It's 1-888-895-6555. Miami-Pittsburgh winner at no charge from Sports Plus Network. 1-888-895-6555.
Hey, it's your good friend JMV here, and did you know, hopefully you have, and I know that you guys are playing along with me here, but FanDuel Sportsbook is officially live in Indiana, so now you can bet money lines, spreads, parlays, props, and more on every game from anywhere in the state. Plus, FanDuel Sportsbook is offering you a risk-free bet worth up to $500 when you sign up. Just use the promo code JMV. Don't forget that because I want you to get this deal. You and I both, because I'm going to do some work on there a little bit later on tonight, too. $500 when you sign up with the promo code JMV. That means if you lose your first bet, FanDuel will give you a refund in-site credit, which is a great thing. I mean, you got a lot of stuff you can look at. You look at the Monday Nighter later on tonight. We can dive into week number 9 in football, too. But there's a lot out there. Just use the promo code JMV when you sign up with the FanDuel Sportsbook today. It is outstanding. And I'm telling you what, that risk-free bet doesn't sound bad. Go ahead, check it out, take a look, and see what you like either tonight or later on this week. Meantime, first online wager only with FanDuel. Refund issued as on-site credit. Terms apply. Must be at least 21. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Can you tell if these vegetables are being contaminated with bacteria that could cause paralysis? Listen. You can't see it either. Use different cutting boards so that the bacteria in raw meats and seafood and their juices doesn't touch prep surfaces for other foods like veggies. Raw food may contain bacteria that can make you very sick, or worse. Roughly 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year, but you can keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
Hey, John, for Farm Credit Union. Farm Credit Union is the place to go, especially if you're a new home builder, new home buyer. A lot of things to really get nervous about. I've been through that before as well. Farm Credit Union, Kevin and the gang help you out with that in mind, because during the month of November, be ready, they're going to have a home builder or a home buyer showcase to educate you, to inform you about what all that process entails. I mean, seriously, always trying to help you out and always trying to save you money. Kevin and the gang at Forum Credit Union. Tell them I sent you today at a branch location or online, forumcu.com.
Guys, erectile dysfunction got you down? The Indianapolis Men's Clinic's all-male staff specializes in treating ED and other sexual health-related issues. Call today for a consultation. 999-9000.
This is Indy Sports Center. WFNI, WIBC, HD2, W298BB, W228CX, Indianapolis. The Pacers' road trip continues in Detroit against the Pistons. This evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Brissett out of the gun, hands off left side to Marlon Mack, cuts back, he's at the 5, touchdown Marlon Mack, touchdown INDY, a 10-yard scamper and a pay dirt for Marlon Mack, and the Colts now only trail by 1, it's 13-12.
Matt Taylor, Colts Radio with the call right there. Kyle is here, I'm John, thank you for joining us. In studio through Thursday and then on the road on Friday, I'll tell you where coming up. Colts a winner 15-13 in really what was an awful game with the exception of the outcome. With the exception of Brissett making plays late, T.Y. with the great catch late, and then Adam Vinatieri, if he needed to, completely redeeming himself and knocking in the game winner. Hey, listen, I know more than a couple of you are nervous about that. Can't tell me you weren't nervous about it. But he knocked it in, and the Colts get the win. You look at the AFC South right now. Is that the best division in the NFL present time? 5-2 are the Colts. All AFC South teams won yesterday. In case you did not notice, Jacksonville's now 4-4, 29-15 over the Jets. Texans 27-24 against the Raiders, although you get J.J. Watt down for the season now. Done, as he announced on Twitter yesterday. Texans are now 5-3, and the Titans are 4-4, 27-23 over the Buccaneers. Bruce Arians was irate regarding call in that game yesterday, too. So, yeah, 4-4, 4-4, 5-3, and 5-2. Best division in the NFL presently. You guys buy it? Hey, Cole McDaniel, if you guys remember, asked me about a bet regarding the Packers and the spread on Friday. Cole benefited because of that, and apparently Cole tells me he profited $600. See? You're entertained, and you win, and you profit by listening to the show. Why would you not want to do that? Hey, JMV, I'm with you. I think the Pacers' problems stem from defense. The Pacers have gotten weak inside as Sabonis is now your main defensive player, while Miles is pulled out to the three-point line. They both in that Cleveland game got worked. I think, obviously, you looked at the bench, and the bench scoring is way down now because Domas is no longer coming off the bench. I mean, there is just complete and utter, let's face it, discombobulation through two games. It's been borderline unwatchable. And it's early, and I know it, and there's a lot, and guys are new, and TJ Warren and Jeremy Lamb hasn't played. He's not going to play again tonight. And everybody's getting used to one another and this and that, but holy crap, it's been unwatchable. Saturday was that second quarter. They have given up game 1 against Detroit, a 36-point fourth quarter, and then a 39-point second quarter the other night against the Cavaliers. Guard somebody. Guard somebody. Pistons tonight, 6:30 pregame show begins. I attended the Pacer opener and then tried to watch Saturday's game. I turned it off at the half. The team looks like a bunch of mismatched socks. For example, the Pacers start with Jeremy Lamb jacking up JMV shots all over the place. They bench him for the second game. Actually, he was injured the second game. He's replaced with the TJ McConnell. TJ McConnell is now coming off the bench, and Aaron Holiday is not, if you notice that. There's another part of the problem, too. I mean, TJ Leaf, Aaron Holiday, Goga. I mean, can you count on any of them? I mean, these are first-round draft pick. You're going to be able to count on any of them. History will tell you you're not going to be able to count on TJ Leaf. Disappointment reigns with Aaron Holiday right now, and Goga's still slightly a myth. You going to be able to count on any of these guys? You can't continue to whiff on these. You just can't. That's kind of where we are after 2 games. Very early in the process, but after 2 games, there's no doubt that's where we are. Todd is at 239-1070 with Rick Venturi, bottom of the hour. Todd, go ahead.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Great. Go ahead.
Hey, also, I wouldn't plan on saying this, but I would have a hard time saying the NFC West is not the best division in football right now if you look at the lineup in that division.
I got you. Listen, yeah. You make a lot of sense there, too. I'm just trying to make an argument. I'm trying to rush people to my Twitter account. You know what I mean? Come on. Don't mess that up.
Two observations from yesterday I'll let you comment on. Then I've got one question for Coach Venturi. First observation, we were the beneficiary of one of the rare red flag reviews on the pass interference call on Hilton. I think they're changing those at about a 10% rate.
Yeah, but that was obvious though. I mean, if you don't change that over, then it's complete BS. That was as obvious as it gets.
That was more egregious than 2 of the Rock Yassin penalties, if you want to know the truth, that were flagged automatically. The other one, and I've heard a little bit of comment about this, the out-of-bounds play on the final drive, the late hit, the 15 yards, absolutely huge. It changes the whole play-calling sequence there at the end. I think if you don't get that 15 yards, we got to do something a little bit different. We were clearly out of field goal range. That doesn't happen. So you can comment on that as well. And then here's the question I want you to ask the coach. It seems like Jacoby gets an unusual amount of passes batted down at the line of scrimmage. And I don't know if that's a delivery situation, if it's where he's at in the pocket, if it's his eyes. But it seems to me that he has a couple, if not more, batted down every game.
You know what's funny about that? I haven't noticed any more out of him than I did out of Luck. And I noticed that out of Luck, too. Did you? When he was here?
Yeah. I did too, but I don't see it. I mean, I watched a number of other games, and you don't see it from a lot of these other quarterbacks. It just seems like it's almost I don't know, an abnormal. From what I see from other teams. So
I'll ask Todd. Thank you for the call. I'll definitely ask him that. But I was thinking about that too, and I don't recollect there being more than when Luck. I mean, it seemed like Luck had that happen all the time. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's not just me. See, the difference in what he said, you got an unbeaten team, you had a 6-win team and a 5-win team, but you also have the Cardinals that are a game under 500. The difference between the NFC West and the AFC South is that, everybody is at 500 or over in the South. Oh, it's just a hell of a discussion if you want it right there, though. Hey, JMV, they got to play them, though. They ain't learning a thing sitting on the bench. Play all 15. Nate needs to do better. I will say this. I mean, you're going to run these guys out of gas. These guys are logging 35-plus a night here. To get beat by, 9. And what did they get beat by Saturday night? Well, they give up 119 and 110 in 2 games, I think. What the hell are you doing giving up 119 and 110 to the Pistons and to the Cavaliers?
Tristan Thompson hit his first three-pointer in his career on you.
I just want to puke. That made me really want to vomit. The whole thing. And I sit here all the time. I do, and I want this to work, and I'm probably the only one that's kind of holding on to this little bitty thread right now that believes this is going to work. Let me tell you this, it's not going to work. If you get done like they got done in Cleveland with Love and with Tristan Thompson, for God's sake. Oh. And then you counter with not even in the ballpark. I'm trying not to lose it here, guys. I'm trying not to. Trying to hang in. JMV, the Freaks come out at night rather than Haunted House of Rock. When we be playing UTFO, SWAT, Get Down, Jeff A. I don't know. That's talking about down the hall. I played a lot of songs that I know never made the air over there before. Like I played Shout at the Devil, and it was like the theme was musicians, artists that were no longer with us, and I figured that I was pretty close because Nikki Sixx has died twice but been brought back, and Mick Mars looks really dead, so I thought it was appropriate. So I rolled Shout at the Devil. JMV, I deliver booze in Bloomington. Now you being bowl eligible already is going to make the rest of the season pretty rough for me. There's no question. Saturday night at 7 o'clock with Northwestern. Another winnable, very winnable, should be winnable. After now cashing in and becoming bowl eligible, that should be a party this weekend. From John, JMV, seems dumb to think it, but do you think Coach Reich played it conservative to set up Vinatieri so he could kick the winner? Seemed out of character for Reich. You know what? I didn't hear this asked. I kind of wondered if he was a little bit worried about, and I would agree with that too, but I wonder if he was worried about turning the ball over. I mean, you saw that Matt Nagy argued that yesterday, too, for the Bears. He was worried that Trubisky was going to turn the ball over, and I'm not trying to compare the two quarterbacks, so stop. Now, Frank Reich has all the confidence in the world in Vinatieri, and he should. There is no question that he should, but what else is he going to do? And I know that earlier this season they brought in different dudes, but you think that's not happening. I mean, this guy all along was going to work through it. And I know that he's still scaring the bejesus out of some folks right now. And you probably were a little bit worried with that game winner. But what else will the head coach say? I mean, listen, organizationally, they still have to do as what they did earlier this year. You got to bring in, that group of clowns that don't have gigs right now. But Frank Reich's going to back his guys. Other folks in that organization are going to play the role as the bad guy. This is Frank Reich, by the way, earlier today, and I'm just going to read this off. Frank Reich on why Quincy Wilson and Deion Kane were inactive. Quote, "This was just one of those weeks we felt like it was the best decision. Won't get into details. Sounds like they had other guys they wanted active," according to Zach Kiefer. I saw this earlier today, and that's what we talked about yesterday. I mean, things were going to get interesting on that inactive list because, frankly, this is the healthiest I have ever seen the Colts. Going into yesterday, I cannot remember a time when this team has been as healthy. Carl Davis, and hell, not five of you knew who he was, maybe still don't know who he was the only guy that had been ruled out for that game. And you knew, especially in the secondary, that some tough decisions were going to be made because they like young dudes. They like a guy like George Odom. They like Kari Willis. So you knew some tough ones were going to be made, even with Pierre Desir sitting it out. So Kane probably surprised me more than Quincy Wilson. Donk is at 239-1070. Donk, go ahead.
What's up, fella?
What's happening?
Hey, let's say I'm pretty disappointed, man. I said 50 wins. We got Edmund Sumner starting for us tonight. That is telling. Man, I hate to say this, but I don't know what we can do to move anybody, but number 4 is not doing us any good right now. And if we can get 2 or 3 good players for him,
Donk, man,
Hey,
Donk.
man, I'm not.
It's
I'm
game
not jumping
3,
the shark.
Donk. You're advocating
dude,
trading
dude.
Victor Oladipo after 2 games, Donk. Yes, you are.
Absolutely. Yes, I am. One, I don't love the guy. I've seen him out in public, but I'm just saying, man, they got to do something because our bigs are not producing, and our bench is awful. Awful.
Well, the bench is awful. Hey, Donk, thank you for the call. The bench has been bad. Now, offensively, both dudes, Sabonis and Miles, were good in night 1, but couldn't, obviously, especially Miles. It was both, but it was more Miles than it was Domas. Got worked over by Andre Drummond, and then they both got worked over by the combination of Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson. Donk, I will have to agree with you. I think you are jumping the gun if you're advocating trading Victor Oladipo after 2 NBA games this year. I love you, though, Donk. Rick Vincherry, bottom of the hour. JMV, so the Falcons can't get a 6th-rounder for Vic Beasley. Taking a flyer on Beasley for a 6th-rounder seems like a low-risk move for Ballard. Any thoughts? Well, if they can't get a 6th-rounder for him, they don't want a 6th-rounder, are they? That is kind of interesting. JMV, I agree with you about the Colts O-line. That's the most I've seen Nelson struggle. Listen, give credit where credit is due, though. I mean, Von Miller's good, Derek Wolfe is good, and Vic Fangio is really good at what he does. And what he does is not coach offense well, but what he does is coach defense well. That's why they're number 4. That's why they were so good against the pass going into that game. Telling you, you're going to look back at that game yesterday and say, man, that is going to be memorable. And it was crap water. It was, other than a couple of plays here or there. But memorable because that could have been the wart on your face the rest of the season. Relaxed Pacer fans. Seems like 2 games, almost entirely new team. Let's reevaluate December 1. I would even say further than that, James Shaw. But listen, it's not like I sit there and watch that too and don't get antsy. It's tough. I mean, the first 2 games, and especially Saturday night, was borderline unwatchable. Agreed. Kevin's at 239-1070. Kevin, go ahead.
I wanted to talk about how bad Brissett looked yesterday. He looked great escaping, but his passes were off target at best. I want to get your opinion on it.
Yeah, they were getting. He was flustered, man. You can see a couple of times. That's something else I was going to bring up to Rick, bottom of the hour. He looked flustered. But the thing you take away from that is when it was time to get something done, the dude got something done. And he did something in wiggling out of that safety situation. He did something that not a lot of other quarterbacks are capable of doing, and then throwing a 35-yard dime to T.Y. Hilton. That was pretty big. But I would agree. I mean, he was flustered a lot in there. There's no question.
Flustered's an excellent point. And I was actually talking with a buddy of mine last week and this week. Is it just me, or is he taking a lot of just big hits?
I don't think I noticed it. We probably weren't talking about that the week prior against Houston. I think we were just talking about that yesterday because the offense was completely out of sync, out of flow because of what Denver did. So I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so.
And not to argue with you, but I think you're completely wrong. I said during the Houston game and then during the Bronco game, I want to say there were 5 or 6 times that he delivered the ball. I mean, he got rid of the ball. He didn't take any sacks, but he just got absolutely murked by the defense. And I wondered if you thought that might end up having an impact on the accuracy of his passes.
Well, I will say this: you're right. To me, we'll disagree on one thing, but I think you're right on the other. It does affect things. See, this whole philosophy offensively with what Sirianni and Reich have come up with this year is to try to keep him as comfortable and as poised as possible. And, most of the season they have done that. Yesterday, they didn't do that. Against the Raiders, they didn't do that. Second half against the Falcons, they didn't do that. And he gets nervous. I mean, he gets flustered or whatever I said earlier that you thought was accurate. But I would agree with the second half of that for sure.
I'm with you. I'm looking forward to the interview with Rick Ray and Terry then as well. So thanks for your time, JMV.
Anytime, Kev. Thank you. Have you noticed him taking a lot of hits? Maybe it's because I've watched Luck play for so many years here. It doesn't seem like it, but
I haven't noticed him more. When you're comparing it to other QBs around the league, seems about average.
I'd have to look. I haven't even looked at how many hits he takes per game.
He took a lot versus Houston.
Yeah,
Watt got to him quite a bit, but yesterday it didn't seem like it was that bad.
How'd the offensive line do you look against Houston compared to yesterday?
Thought they were more confused yesterday, and I think
I could not agree more.
Stephen Holder had a great article out on The Athletic about how the Broncos, they had a lot of looks and stunts on their D-line that they hadn't seen on film, so which caused some confusion for the Colts O-line.
Rick Venturi, bottom of the hour. Let's go Chris at 239-1070 right now. Chris, go ahead.
Hey, brother, I don't know what Donk's smoking, but I need some of that stuff for this Monday. It's been a Monday of all Mondays. I'm not here to talk about the Pacers, though. I'm going to talk about Jacoby, man. It seemed like he was holding the ball quite a bit yesterday, and maybe it was just my perception. You think that's him not working through his progressions? Do you think that's our receivers just not being able to create space? Or do you think that that's a testament to how good the Broncos secondary is, man?
I thought Broncos defensively had a great plan. And I don't really know what the plan was other than to fluster the quarterback. I think that they met up with Vic Fangio that's really good at what he does as a head coach. It's just not offensively. I think if the Broncos give anything offensively, or even if they put the hammer down as they should have and taken some chances yesterday, they should have, could have, would have won that game. But defensively, I think you saw how top shelf that they can be defensively, and I think you saw that with what they did to the quarterback. I don't know about you. He just looked like he was bouncing around. What do they call it, happy feet? I thought he was bouncing around basically the entire game that way.
Yeah, it was kind of a la Andrew Luck. I mean, Andrew would kind of hop up and down and whatnot. It just seemed like he was holding the ball an awful long time. There was no decisiveness in where he was going to go with the ball. So, yeah, I guess I'd agree. I mean, that's a hell of a defense that we played against yesterday.
I thought it was really good. Chris, thank you for the call. I thought it was really good. There's a lot of things we're going to talk about. I did think that Jacoby made plays that saved that game. It wasn't a great game by Jacoby by any stretch, but he made plays to win that game. To me, the play in the end zone is still amazing to me. And it wasn't his best day, but that play arguably was his best. Rick, bottom of the hour. All you need to know, if you have questions, you can send them to me at JMV 1070. If you have questions, you can call in and talk to Rick a little bit later on. I'll give you that cue as well. Chainsmokers tickets and Rick Venturi with all you need to know. It is must listen. Bottom of the hour next.
Monday Night Football in Pittsburgh between the Steelers and the Dolphins. Steelers heavy favorites going into this one. Steve Berry from the Sports Plus Network. What do you like?
Joey, this is going to be an interesting game. Miami coming into Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh laying 14. The total's 43. Miami not going anywhere this year, and Pittsburgh is right behind them. But just remember this, even in these big line games, every game is a money-making opportunity. Be very wary of huge lines. Last Thursday, Minnesota minus 17, only won 19-9. Now, these big lines can go either way. If you called us on Monday last week, you got the easy winner, New England, New York Jet, 33-0. Very, very easy winner. Guys, make the call. We'll tell you who's going to win. We'll tell you why they're going to win. This can be a money-making opportunity. Give us a call, 1-888-895-6555. Miami-Pittsburgh winner at no charge from Sports Plus Network.
Hey, John for Love, Heating and Air Conditioning. Man, John and Chris, shout out to you guys. I'm glad you're on board here because, I like local, I like people that you can trust, people that I know, people that I'm friends with, and these guys are the absolute best. And now as we approach the colder months, I want to make sure that you're taken care of. And let's do it because we got a JMV special for you. We're going to do this all the time. $64.95, your furnace, your heating unit clean to make sure you're ready to go. We're going to scuffle through some cold weather. Don't even pick up that Farmer's Almanac, by the way, too, because it is not looking good cold-wise around here, if you believe in that stuff. But here's what you absolutely believe in. Love Heating and Air Conditioning. And making sure $64.95 with a JMV special gets you set up for the cold winter months ahead. For more info and ways you can get a hold of my guys at Love Heating and Air Conditioning, that's online, love-hvac.com. Ask for the JMV special today.
Here's a quick rundown of what's going on at Arby's every day from 2 to 5 p.m. and after 9 p.m. Each of our sliders are $1. The warm cookies are $1. The soda is $1. The shakes $1. The parking free. The drive-thru paved. The curly fries $1. The ketchup all you can eat. Arby's, we have the meats.
Dollar price valid for small fries and drinks, snack shakes, and classic sliders. Available at participating locations for a limited time.
Warning: this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever, 99 cents, plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Farm Credit Union has this going for you coming up in the month of November. If you're a home buyer, new home builder, they have a home buyer showcase that gives you all the ins and the outs, educates you, make sure you're fully aware of everything that happens as far as that process is concerned, because it can make you a nervous wreck. I have been there before, so feel secure and be educated with the home buyer showcase through Farm Credit Union. Ask Kevin or somebody at a branch location about the entire deal. Make sure you're there for it as well. And for more info to find out where and more ways you can save, that's forumcu.com today.
It takes courage to talk with that someone special when there are problems in the bedroom. Erectile dysfunction, or PE, can shatter your confidence and make your relationship challenging. You can put an end to these issues. Have the courage to make just one confidential visit to the Indianapolis Men's Clinic and get that spark back in your relationship. The doctors at the Indianapolis Men's Clinic offer the latest solutions for all ED and PE issues, and you'll see results in your first visit, or there's no charge. Call 999-9000 to meet with their licensed providers, no matter your age or your conditions. Diabetes, high blood pressure, prostate cancer, low testosterone causing your issue. It doesn't matter. They can help. Call the Indianapolis Men's Clinic at 999-9000. That's 999-9000, or online at indymensclinic.com. Have the courage to take that first step. Indianapolis Men's Clinic, your key to a better life.
Place your sports bets at BetRivers.com, offering competitive odds on game lines, futures, and prop bets. With 50-plus in-game bets on pro football games. Make bets while the game is being played, like who will score next, how will the current drive finish. You will earn rewards for every bet you place with our innovative loyalty program. Sign up now. We'll match your first deposit up to $250 using one of our 12 deposit methods. More bets, better odds, more action. Place your sports bets at BetRivers.com. Must be 21 or over to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Playable only in Indiana.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Right now, save up to $120 off select sets of tires. Only at your local Big O Tires. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Hey, John here. FanDuel Sportsbook is officially live in Indy, so now you can bet money lines, spreads, parlays, props, and more on every game from anywhere in the state. Plus, FanDuel Sportsbook is offering you a risk-free bet worth up to $500 when you sign up with the promo code JMV. Hey, let's play along together with this thing, too. I'm going to think about what I'm going to do later on tonight, but we can all do that using the promo code JMV. That means if you lose your first bet, FanDuel will give you a refund in site credit, which is awesome. And if you're thinking of using your risk-free bet, let's take a look at some things later on tonight. Maybe Monday Night Football. I don't know. Maybe something later on this week. But let's get on board and figure out what works for us tonight. And let's get something done risk-free. And don't forget, just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app now and visit FanDuel.com/sportsbook to claim your risk-free bet with the promo code JMV. That's the promo code JMV. First online wager only. Refund issued as site credit. Terms apply. Must be at least 21. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Powered by the Hubler Auto Group, Indiana's auto giant. When shopping for a new ride, click drivehubler.com. Only Hubler includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile limited warranty.
Pick is up. It's on its way.
The Colts continue their amazing run.
It's gone! Out of it, Terry!
Surprising the entire league.
The greatest of all time knocks it through!
Now Now our boys in blue invade the AFC North to take on the struggling Steelers. Sunday, it all starts with the pregame huddle at 10. Countdown to kickoff at noon. Matt Taylor with the call at 1. Talk about it after the game with Greg Rakestraw. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for Colts football. From playing in a phone booth, becoming a Morse Reservoir All-Star, and earning status as an ambient player, it's time for the best of Coach Rick Venturi with a breakdown of yesterday's game. Brought to you by the District Tap. Craft beer on tap and damn good food. North at 82nd Street, just east of Keystone at the Crossing. And now downtown at Georgia Street and Meridian.
Here's a guy. It's a must-listen segment every Monday at 4:30. Rick Venturi joins us. Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline. I'm going to tell you what, that was a crap water game yesterday. There's no way around it. But, Rick, I said this earlier. It's one of those games that will be memorable at the end of the year for the good and the bad, but for the survival. If you have a really nice season, you're going to look back at that survival yesterday and say, yeah, that was one of the reasons why.
Oh, absolutely, John. I'll start this session with some with some things that I thought were pretty good in terms of what you're talking about. Some are going to sound like cliches, but they're for real. I would say the first thing, if you got a heart condition, if you have heart palpitations or any kind of weaknesses, just don't watch this team on Sunday because they are going to take you to the brink. You are going to be a nervous wreck for 60 minutes. I have a lot invested here, but I am exhausted. I was exhausted when that thing was over. I literally had to go out on the motorcycle just to chill out, just to clear my head for a second, to relax. And I thought our good friend and colleague Kevin Bowen, who does such a great job, his 5 points to remember from the game today are by far, as always, the best documentation of the game there is out there. But he brought up a point that is really amazing, is that to be 5-2, John, with a mere 7-point differential, which means you're averaging a 1-point differential per game, is amazing. That's really, really hard on the heart. And, kind of going along what you said there, there's no asterisk besides wins. There really is.
Well, and we brought this up all year long, that they can lose to anybody, they can beat anybody.
That's right. That cliche, there's a couple cliches, is on any given Sunday, that's for real. And I said that in the pregame. I said it last week. Everybody in this league has enough talent to beat you on a given day. Now, their warts will come out just like they did with Denver in the fourth quarter, and they come out over a 16-game season. But, all those wins in that left column, absolutely, they count exactly the same. That one yesterday, which people will say is ugly, means every bit as much as the Kansas City or the Houston one. And think about where we'd be if we didn't get it. If we didn't get it, we would be walking the plank today. Let's face it. And we were looking at that. We were looking at that heads up. I think the third point is that this team does, and it really has the resilience, and it does play with kind of a back-to-the-wall mentality. It has a fourth-quarter mentality. I was a little worried sometimes when you're a favorite, and I said this last week as a warning, is be prepared for a fourth-quarter game, because a lot of times you go in there prepared for a knock them out of there and get out of there quick, and that's when you get upset. But from our standpoint, our guys really hung in there and somehow found a way to win in the fourth quarter. And, I guess going back to the first one, are we playing with fire or are we just finding a way to win? I guess that's a little bit of both. But this team has grit. There isn't any question about it. And when I talk about back to the wall, the defense, again, the fifth stop in 2 weeks, that made the difference. 3 against Houston, and then those 2 critical ones early, back to the wall in the red zone in a one possession in a 2-point game. That's amazing. And then we did play well. I thought in the fourth quarter. Now, albeit, I do think that you have to, there's an alarm here. You can't take a huge victory lap if anything, you got to look at yourself realistically, because Denver really did self-implode. 7 penalties in the fourth quarter, and the last 2 drives were indicative of who they were. They're going to get the ball, with 6 minutes to go or 5 minutes to go. They get a punt return to our 45 now with a lead, and all they've got to do is walk some time off the clock and kick another field goal and go home. And they get a penalty on that play. Then they get another penalty pushing in the back. And before you know it, they go from 1st and 10 on our 45 to 3rd and 16 on their own 35. I mean, that was absolutely ridiculous, much less, the horse collar penalty at the end. Without the horse collar penalty, we probably don't win that game. And it was legitimate. I mean, he really and truly did it. I thought all along a couple game balls. I'll give a couple game balls out to our players, but I give a couple crazy game balls. I give one to Johnson, their linebacker, 45, for that call. And I'll give Sean Payton a game ball for getting that rule changed on the PI, because we finally got it. It was flagrant, but we finally got it. And all these are critical. I mean, these are critical plays.
Yeah.
I mean, the pick play that they end up calling Fant on the crossing pattern goes to 3rd and 16. If they hit it, it's 4th and 1, and they're going to go for it. And then the horse collar, really, those are fairly new rules in this league. I mean, the last few years, obviously, the being able to flag and being able to challenge the PI is this year, and the horse collar hadn't been in there that year. So those were 2 big things. Obviously, both calls were there and should have been there. So, thank God we get it. You got to give a game ball. I thought the great picture on the Star today, the Star and the headline, is really and truly Brissett bailed us flat out. I mean, that's one of the finest plays you're going to see now. You're going to see forever. Under the circumstances, backed up, they are killing us at that point. We can't make anything. They are dominating our front. They're getting hitters. He's taking it all day long, played tough all day long, and all of a sudden he's got one of the best players ever, one of the best rush backers ever, who basically has a clean shot, who basically has him what appears to be wrapped up. He gets out of it, gets out to the edge, and throws that strike downfield, which T.Y. did a nice job, obviously, of keeping his feet in. But that is the play of plays. I got to tell you, that was just absolutely amazing. And then, obviously, the fact that, obviously you got to give a game ball to Vinny in the sense that, he was able to have what great players have to have. You have to have selective amnesia. You can't let what happened in the first quarter or the third quarter affect you in that critical situation. It ends up, he ended up getting that kick and making it. And I just think kind of with that, it's kind of amazing because all these things happened in the 2-minute span. But one coach, I talked about them self-destructing on the second to the last. On the last possession, Fangio, who I really respect and I understand, I've been in his situation. When you have a really bad offensive football team and a quarterback you can't trust and very few skilled players, he played not to lose on that 3rd and 5. He really did. I mean, he played not to lose. And maybe if Miller gets that sack, maybe we look at it differently. Yep. But somehow I think on 3rd and 5, even if you're going to call a running play, I think you got to call it with an RPO. I mean, you can't. They ran into a heaviest box. I mean, they might as well have taken a knee, to be honest with you. You got to at least have an RPO there when that box is loaded. I mean, at least throw a slant to Sutton. I mean, 34 couldn't even get close to covering him. It's just kind of amazing. But I've been there, like I said, and I understand. I'm not going to be overcritical there because what he's saying is, my chances, I'm right now at this point in time, I'm 2 for 11. I'm 2 for 11 on 3rd down. So I don't want to screw this thing up. We'll back them up and play great defense, and we'll win it. But, sometimes there's just something about playing. And Flacco ought to shut up because he's one of the problems. That guy can't get out of his own way, to be honest with you. And He's got body language as bad as anybody I've ever seen, so he really needs to shut up.
I will say this, too. I think it's easier for Colts fans to look at it. Now you got to go, from a Colts angle because you seem certainly more secure in doing it. But you're right. From a different angle with Denver, they felt that maybe you could do something, play some defense, and maybe lean on that D a little bit more, which had been working all day.
I've been there because I took over two dastardly teams as an interim coach. And one of the things that I did in both cases, because both teams were a mess, was try to keep the game close right to the very end and win with your strength. And that's what he did. He may have overthought it a little bit, maybe overanalyzed it. I don't know. And like I said, if the sack or we don't get the horse collar, you'd be saying that's a good one. And then Frank was just the opposite. Even though Vinny had struggled, he played real conservative at the end and played for the field goal, and ended up winning. So in one case, conservative doesn't look so good. In the other one, it looks great because in the end, it's all result-oriented. The other thing, number 5 and 2, that's rarefied air right now, buddy. I mean, that is when you look around, and as you said, that loss. I always say it's like baseball. You lose a game. You lose a game in the NFL. It's like a 10-game losing streak in baseball. That's what it really comes down to, and that would have been like a 100-game losing streak. So that 5 and 2 is great. Other than the Patriots, there's only 3 of us: the Ravens, the Bills, and us. At that 5 and 2. So you got to keep this. You ought to be. If you play well. Now we didn't bring our A game yesterday, and I'll get into that. I'll get into the negatives. But we ought to be 7 and 2 going into Houston, who just loses J.J. Watt for the season. I can say relatively safely we will not be an underdog in any game except probably the New Orleans game when we go in there in December. So, this 5 and 2, you just keep packing them. You just keep packing them week by week, and pretty soon you're talking about home field advantage, at least you're talking about buys and home field advantage, which, doesn't seem like a lot in November, but it's huge when you get to January. And I think in the end, from a coaching standpoint, there's really nothing better right here at midseason than to win a game. Now, if you lose it, it's totally different. But if you win a game and you didn't bring your A game, you didn't have the concentration, you didn't play like you should have played, much like Oakland, except you lost the Oakland game, this is a time when you can get after their ass, because when you win a game, the Eagles are never going to be destroyed. So you don't have to worry about that. So this is a game where you get on their ass for every detail, every softness, every mistake. And, as a coaching staff, you look it over and you say, am I making the right moves? I mean, what's happened to Quincy Wilson? We'll talk about that when we get into the specifics, because there are quite a bit of negatives on both sides.
All right, and I want to hit a break here, but I want you to think about this, because the offensive line took a beating yesterday. And
they did.
One of those plays you were talking about with Brissett, which we both agree was the play of the game, and I think this was in the Denver Post. There was a picture that had Braden Smith holding Derek Wolfe like nobody's business in the end zone right there. Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about that, the O-line. I know a lot of people want to hear about that. Rick, we'll put you on hold and come back with that and more, the shortcomings and what he talked about a little bit earlier, some of the good things that came out of yesterday and the Colts win over the Broncos at Lucas Oil Stadium. Rick Venturi rejoins us next.
Join JMV at JMV Sucks, but his concert doesn't, featuring Yacht Rock Review, Friday, January 10th at the Morale. Listen to JMV this week for your chance to win a pair.
When I say you should get your furnace tuned up every year, you might think I'm just blowing hot air. But studies show yearly tune-ups can actually make your furnace last a whole lot longer. So if you haven't had your furnace maintenance this winter, give the experts at 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning a call. It's the best way to make sure your house stays warm this winter and many, many winters to come. And here's some more reasons to call them. 1 Hour Furnace Tune-Ups pinpoint potential problems way ahead of time. You get the regular maintenance, and that can prolong the life of your system. Their techs, more importantly, know Indianapolis well. They know what you may need for special attention in this environment. They're total pros, courteous, respectful of your home and time, and they stand by their work. If you know your system needs repair, they have a straightforward pricing guide, so you'll know what you're paying for before they even start. Right now, just $79 for a furnace tune-up. $79. Now, don't wait for the winter weather to get here. Call my friends at 855-1-HOUR today and schedule a $79 furnace tune-up. 855-1-HOUR. Terms and conditions apply. Call for details. License 800-10668.
Hey, John here for BullseyeEventGroup.com, the Colts VIP tailgate. It was awesome yesterday. I know those of you that I met down there and you were a part of it know exactly what I'm talking about. The food was spectacular. Aaron May, the celebrity chef, prepared it. You got all you can drink, all you can eat. Skids and Indiana Jones spinning it too. I'm telling you, the best pregame party you're going to find anywhere is the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. And remember, you can rent out the Bullseye Event Center for your corporate gathering. That and passes to the next Colts home game, the Colts VIP tailgate. BullseyeEventGroup.com right now.
In 1925, Modelo began brewing beer for those who believe in better and wear their heart and heritage on their rolled-up sleeve. Since our first bottle served, we've proved that it doesn't matter where you come from. It matters what you're made of. Modelo Especial, food for those with a fighting spirit. Drink responsibly. Imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Modelo Especial proudly celebrates Mexican heritage with Day of the Dead celebrations all around Indy, October 31st through November 2nd. Check 1075thefan.com to find out more.
The GOAT, Adam Vinatieri, drilled a 51-yard field goal with 22 seconds remaining to give the Colts a 15-13 victory over the Denver Broncos on Sunday. It was not enough to cover the 6-point spread, but it was good enough for bettors to cash in on their moneyline tickets. With this Bet Indiana News update, I'm Kevin Bowen. While his missed extra point near the end of the third quarter loomed large, the game winner was one of 3 made kicks for the 46-year-old on Sunday, including a 55-yarder right before halftime. The Colts erased a 13-3 deficit en route to the last-second win. Up next for Indianapolis is a trip to Heinz Field to take on the Steelers. The game opened pick'em on Sunday afternoon, but early wagering moved the line in favor of the Colts by 1 point. The line could move more depending on tonight's outcome. The Steelers are heavy favorites on Monday Night Football, laying 2 touchdowns to the woeful Dolphins. It's the 5th time this season the Dolphins have been underdogs of 2 touchdowns or more. This sports betting update has been brought to you by Bet Indiana News. Visit betindiananews.com for more sports betting coverage and insights.
With mortgage rates in the 2s, you have choices. Lower your monthly payment, pay off credit cards, buy a new house. Golden Oak Lending has lowered mortgage rates to 2.875.
And that's a fixed rate. This is James Hawkins. If you're struggling with credit card debt, we can help you pay it off at a low rate.
At 2.875, now's the time to fix the house, finish the basement. You have so many choices.
We're easy to work with, and we'll give you a free mortgage checkup right over the phone, so you can find out exactly how much you can save. Or apply online at goldenoaklending.com with our fast Zipline mortgage.
Call our Indy office at 317-706-GOLD. 706-GOLD.
Our experts will walk you through it all, and if we can't close your loan, the appraisal is no charge.
Golden Oak Lending, cured my blues.
NMLS 114937, FHA 15-year fixed, APR 3.915, 20% equity with approved credit. Regulated by the Indiana Department of Financial Institutions.
Hey, John from PAI, WeGrowHairIndy.com, 888-724-5129. Your real growing hair again. It can happen. Just talk to Darren Andrews about it. And if you need to talk with me, you can ask me as well. I'm just here to tell you that it works. If you want your real growing hair again, it's PAI, 888-724-5129 or WeGrowHairIndy.com today.
Stop in Portillo's today and get obsessed with delicious Chicago-style hot dogs, homemade Italian beef sandwiches, chocolate cake, and so much more in Indianapolis, Fishers, and Avon. Find out for yourself. Portillo's. Get to know us. Get to love us. Get obsessed.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. From playing in a phone booth, becoming a Morse Reservoir All-Star, and earning status as an ambient player, it's time for the best of Coach Rick Venturi with a breakdown of yesterday's game. Brought to you by the District Tap. Craft beer on tap and damn good food. North at 82nd Street, just east of Keystone at the Crossing. And now downtown at Georgia Street and Meridian.
All right, Rick's back with us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. The offensive line, where do we begin with the struggles that defense in Denver and Vic Fangio gave them yesterday, Rick?
They did a great job, and that's the one thing. You know, when we played the Raiders, the X factor for me was Gruden and his approach to our defense, which I was prophetic on that. And the X factor to me for Denver was that Fangio would put together a tremendous game plan against us. You know, he would study the films. He would do what it takes. He would match up properly. You know, and they're a good defensive team to start with. We knew that going in. They did a great job. The first thing they did is they really dominated the line of scrimmage. I thought our offensive line maybe had the worst game it's had in the Reich era. I thought that what they were able to do, John, on a lot of those runs is they were able to turn the line of scrimmage. In other words, turn it back so that there was very little room. I actually thought that our backs who did not get 100 yards. I mean, we got 34 yards out of the 27 from Jacoby, for God's sakes. And I thought our backs ran really hard. I thought Mac made some stuff out of nothing at times, but there was very, very little there at the point other than very early in the game on a couple powers. There was very, very little. They did a really good job. And, our reliables, Nelson and Costanzo, didn't have a very good game. I mean, Miller got the sack on Costanzo. It kind of surprised me. He went over there, but he went over there and he got the inside move and got the sack on Costanzo, and then he got the hold on Costanzo, which is like 2 sacks really. And I didn't think Nelson had a very good game. I thought, the blitz, ran right by him. He got beat with quickness. He looked like he did early last year when he gets real top heavy, didn't move his feet, didn't prepare it that well. And didn't have the kind of game that he can have, and he has to prevent that because occasionally he'll do that. That is his one weakness. Kelly so right side just hanging on, like you said. And then I think what you have to add is I think Doyle had the worst game blocking that I've ever seen him have, and Ali Cox wasn't any better. So when we went to get on the edge, I mean they turned that edge. They turned and squeezed it, and we really didn't do a good job at all, either on the running game or really protection. I thought Jacoby did a terrific job managing the lack of protection. The pressure was there. He made a great play on the long field goal before the half when they were all over him, and he ended up getting out of trouble and dumping it off to Hines, which got the ball down there to go. But then he gets 34 yards rushing. I mean, the one fumble, all he's trying to do is make a play. He had no chance on that. But I thought this might have been his finest hour, even though the numbers will never show it. I thought he looked like, he looked like he was in 217 in terms of, getting hit and having things break down and having no offense. But the difference was our defense was able to keep the score down. So, we were still in it and allowed him to make a play. But, again, you got to lump our tight ends. I've been giving them a lot of love, but it was a poor. Really, we did not get the edge blocked. And then, the worst thing is the guy that can ruin the game, you let ruin the game. I mean, Miller really, he gets a sack and a half, but he really has the second one. If you call a holding penalty is like a sack. I mean, he had the 3.5 tackles for losses. He has several tackles and pressures. Unfortunately, in his case, and fortunately for us, is the one he'll always remember, though, is as they say, the one that got away, the one that he didn't get there in the end zone. So, but, he had the big game. Again, I thought they really stuffed us. And then I thought what they did a good job, and this goes back to training camp. This is what I say. If you have a weakness, you better fix it. They did a lot of 5-man rushes, and people have been doing that more and more, and they've been shooting those linebackers from off. In other words, they don't have to walk them up, just shoot them. And what that tends to do is fill every run gap, and then it also brings the 5th guy on the rush. It isolates us across the board. And we're not and then you press coverage with it, and, of course, they match up Harris, who did a really good job on Hilton. Our wide receivers caught 4 passes. 4. That's it. And so, they did a really good job. They stuffed the front, a lot of 5-man stuff, and then they played sticky man-to-man coverage, sometimes just 5 under, 1 deep in the hole. They did a really good job on that. And then when they did play zone, it was a sticky matchup. There was no concessions, and they made it hard as hell. Like I said, it was a terrific plan. And again, you're going to find a way to fix this. I mean, you're going to, And it's amazing to me that Deion Kane isn't on the active roster. I mean, that's an indictment on somebody.
I tell you what, here's what I want to do if you don't mind. I want to get deeply embedded in that, okay, and your thoughts on Quincy Wilson.
Yep.
But I want all that time
amazing.
coming up on the other side. We knew going into yesterday that because of their health, this was probably going to be an interesting inactive list. And as it turned out, it was, because we thought so much about Deion Kane, and the guy's healthy and doesn't even it wasn't even active yesterday. But I want to save that for the other side too, Rick. I'm going to put you on hold. We'll come back with that. We'll come back with Rock Yassin. Should he have been yanked from the game yesterday? And your questions at 239-1070 for Rick or at JMV 1070. It's a must listen every Monday, 4:30 to 5:30. Rick Venturi. Other side next.
You want Colts news.
Yeah, I thought Jacoby looked good. Couple nice timing throws to T.Y.
You need Colts news.
Calf injury. Wasn't getting better. He hadn't been practicing.
We've got Colts news.
Just encourage him with some luck.
Right here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. But that's only the beginning. If we're not talking about it, listening to it, or explaining it on The Fan, then all you have to do is head to 1075thefan.com.
Hey, it's Chuck Jones from Bill Estes Chevrolet, and I'm here with TK. So excited about the football season with some hot new deals.
Wait, football season's almost over.
Not that football, TK. I'm talking about the real football. Just like these real deals. Up to $4,000 more for your trade, and Silverados from $199 a month.
My football is real, but those deals sound pretty real too.
Find new roads to Bill Estes Chevy or online at BillEstesChevy.com.
Just ask for the real football deal.
He means the TK deal.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Owner Beth Rovazini says there's a common misconception about today's high-tech thermostats.
A lot of people think the thermostat has the ability to look at the filter and say, oh, hey, it's clogged. It doesn't. It's just a timer. There's not anything within the thermostat that scans your filter and says, oh, this one's clogged, this one's not.
B&W Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, 317-243-3581. They're your trusted local independent American Standard dealer.
The following is a district-wide service announcement from the District Tap.
The District Tap. Craft beer on tap and damn good food. Wait, hey, can we say that? Damn good food?
Yes, I'm told that damn good food is totally acceptable. Go ahead and pick it up from there.
The District Tap. Craft beer on tap and damn good food. And don't get me started on all the sports at the tap. Over 60 big screens with as much NFL and collegiate football action as you can handle. Weeknight matchups? Yeah, we have weeknight games. Looking for a spot downtown to catch that game? Get your over to our new downtown location at the corner of Georgia Street and Meridian. Game on at the District Tap. How's that?
Fantastic.
The District Tap. Craft beer on tap and damn good food. North at 82nd Street, just east of Keystone at the Crossing, and downtown at the corner of Georgia Street and Meridian. Online at thedistricttap.com.
Hey, John here for Connecticut Water. Connecticut Water and the great deals for the best water right now with Joe, John, and Dennis. Here it is. With a purchase of a Premier Series water softener, you will get absolutely free a K5 drinking water system. It's a great deal on the best water at Connecticut. Shout out to Joe, John, and Dennis for the awesome deal. You buy a Premier Series water softener and get a K5 drinking water station absolutely free with Connecticut. 2 locations, Northeast Side, Castleton, South Side, US 31 and Southport Road, and online, ConnecticutIndy.com today.
Warning. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Did you know that online sports betting is now legal in Indiana? And online sportsbooks have limited time offers available right now, like exclusive bets and deposit match bonuses. At PlayUSA.com, we compare offers from top online sportsbooks so that you can skip the work and get to betting. Go to PlayUSA.com/radio today and choose from thousands of dollars in bonuses, all of them reviewed and rated. Don't bet without your bonus. Visit PlayUSA.com/radio now. 21 and over, Indiana customers only. All gamblers bet at their own risk. Winning is not guaranteed. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-GAMBLER for resources and to learn more. more.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. We are so excited to officially be launching our 5th annual Climb for the Kids. This year, I'll be taking my team down to Ecuador as we attempt to summit the 20,000-foot supervolcano Cotopaxi. This year, we've chosen 5 incredible organizations to raise money for, and our goal, $100,000. Follow our journey and make a donation today. ClimbForTheKids.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
It's Big Joe. Right now, for every window you buy, you get the next one free. No limits and 0% financing for 36 months. Call 317-659-8191 or go to universalwindowsdirect.com. And like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Listen every week during Colts season for the Beef Up Front Report with Big Joe Stasniak. Brought to you by Anthony's Chop House in Carmel at Maine and the Monon.
This is Indy Sports Center. WFNI, WIBC, HD2, W298BV, W228CX, Indianapolis. Your Colts tickets are waiting. Be there November 10th as Dwight Freeney is inducted into the Ring of Honor. Get your Colts versus Dolphins tickets today at Colts.com/tickets. From playing in a phone booth, becoming a Morse Reservoir All-Star, and earning status as an ambient player, it's time for the best of Coach Rick Venturi with a breakdown of yesterday's game. Brought to you by the District Tap. Craft beer on tap and damn good food. North at 82nd Street, just east of Keystone at the Crossing. And now downtown at Georgia Street and Meridian.
I'm curious, back of the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, Rick Venturi rejoins us now. I wanted you to think about this. You already had thoughts on it. Clearly, Deion Kane is not where they thought he was going to be, going all the way back to camp. And do we view Quincy Wilson as a bust, considering he was a healthy and active scratch yesterday?
Well, I'm a little shocked with the Kane thing. I think Kane has so much talent and so much speed, and you get enamored and you make folk heroes out of guys that are scheme players, and if the scheme doesn't come to them, they totally disappear in the game. And you've got a guy like Kane who has that kind of speed. If he's not coming along, then that's a little bit of an indictment on the coaching. I mean, you've got to bring – it's imperative when you have a kid with talent who can separate. I mean, we've gone back in there now. They're pressing us to death. We haven't been getting separation at all, and they even shut down Hilton other than one play Sunday. So, I mean, if you don't have guys that can separate, then you're going to be in trouble. So, I mean, I know that Duhan is a, I guess, special teams guy, a great one. But, at the same time, it's just hard for me to believe that we can't get more out of Kane than we're getting. I'm just shocked at that because I thought he looked outstanding in training camp. He was outstanding last year. And, you got to bring him along. Now, Wilson comes directly over to the defense now that we were talking about. And that's really amazing because, Wilson was a guy that all we heard all offseason, all training camp, was improved, turned it around, versatility. I mean, we heard nothing but love for him. And right now, he didn't even make the travel team. I mean, that's really amazing to me. We elevated Tell, who I really like, who I think is a future. He was a Morse Reservoir All-Star, and he got the start in the three-corner defense, nickel or dime. He got the start. He did a really good job. Now, he played against a bunch of donkeys, so you have to, you're finding out when you put Yasin against quality guys what happens. But, Tell he was encouraging. You kept Taylor up, even though, obviously for special teams, but he didn't play a snap on defense. And so Wilson is that far down the totem pole. It's amazing to me. I mean, you have to, when you use the term bust, you have to use it. I mean, this guy was a second-round pick, pretty high second-round pick. Basically has shown some good things at times, some bad things. But he has fallen out of favor now to where he wasn't even on the travel team. So, I mean, that's scary. And then you got a corner that was, absolutely disastrous.
Would you have benched him yesterday?
Well, I don't know with the players that you had.
If you could.
If you could, because Taylor's more of a nickel. I think with that, if you had Quincy on the travel team, which to me is it's incomprehensible that we don't have him on the travel team, is then I would have benched him, yeah. And what I would have done yesterday without a guy to put in there, and the Colts did some good things. They really did some good things, and this was not anything about game plan except one thing I'll get into later. But they did a great job in the red zone. The red zone, they stopped that first drive, and that really ended up being the game, the 2 red zone stops. But they did it, and they doubled Sutton down there. I mean, truly bracketed him wherever he was on all 3 downs on that first series that the Denver inadvisably threw it up 3 times for 3 incompletions, and boom. Then the second time they ran it, and we stuffed them. And I thought Willis made a really good play on the tight end to save us when we were bracketing in down there. But I would have immediately, when I saw that kid had no chance to cover Sutton, I would have immediately gone to I would have taken the red zone plan, and I would have applied it over there when I wasn't zone. I would have had that back safety, that free safety on that back half of the field, backing him up and let him trail, because he was going to trail him all day. And this is not as big a surprise to me. The 2 guys that to me has just been elevated, it's almost like they have a Chris Ballard scholarship, is Okereke and Yasin. I've never seen it like everybody else does. I see a guy that is, and if I hear it one more time, he was a state wrestling championship. What that has to do with the corner play, I have no idea. But the thing about him is he's done the same thing from the day he's gotten here. He's a competitive guy. Yes, he is. All that intangible that we love is there. But he is a terrible technician. And he gets up on the line. His hands are down. I'm going to say it for the 29th time. His hands are down. They go right back on the snap. As soon as the guy releases, they go back. He never, ever, and this is from day one, he's never gotten an inch better, never touches anybody on the line of scrimmage. So immediately he is playing from recovery on a good receiver. So now 2 things can happen. Once you haven't got a jam, that guy gets on top of you. You either, 1, you can't find the ball deep, or 2, you're grabbing and holding to save your ass. And so all those things happened in the game. And I thought he grabbed every other play in training camp. As a matter of fact, if you go all the way back to the early mini camps, Frank Reich said he liked him, but he has to be less grabby. I'll quote Frank on that from real early. And I saw that every single day. I thought he held every other down, to be honest with you. And so, that was certainly a mismatch. This is the first time that he had to play against a guy who is a legitimate NFL. He's a 1 for them, but I don't really consider him a big-time 1, Sutton. And he just destroyed the kid. So, immediately I think the only thing you could have done without Wilson is move into some double. I wouldn't have got away from the man on the rest of them because I wanted to choke and crowd him, but I would have immediately helped him because you could see he wasn't going to do it. And so, yeah, that was a really tough situation. And the Wilson thing just is beside me. I mean, I can't, I'm not sure he isn't a better player than Yasin, but like I said, he seems to have that scholarship.
Do you think they've given up on him?
Oh, obviously they have.
Where are they thinking the give-up category in Kane?
Obviously
are
they have, because they have elevated a kid like Tell, who I like now. I think Tell was a better, even though he was a safety in college, I think he's a better technician than Yasin is, to be honest with you. And I said that from day one. I said that from the beginning of training camp. But they have elevated him. They've elevated Taylor. Again, he's not on the travel team now. It's one thing not to start or not to play dime. I understood the dime. They were safety heavy, so they were gonna play Willis down at the dime on the tight end, which wasn't a bad. I thought Willis, other than the hold, he did a really good job, like he always does. But all of a sudden, just to totally be out of it, and then have a corner perform like that, and then you have no option. You gotta look yourself in the mirror on that. And I thought a couple other things too, and I think overall, defensively, you gotta like the numbers. One, the point total 13. Although, remember, now this is one of the worst offenses that you'll ever see in the National Football League. We said that going in. It's proven week in and week out. I mean, they are really hapless. So don't take too much of a victory lap. But you kept the points down. You won in specialized situations. You won. The red zone thing was key. The 2 stops in the red zone was the game. 2 for 12 on third down. All those kinds of things were really, really good. But in some ways, I mean, you let this team do some things that they really shouldn't have done. I mean, if you add the interference yardage, which you have to the passing game, they're over 300 yards with nothing. And I thought that they ran the ball too easily at times. They really did. I thought we were soft. I think one thing I would also be critical of, and I've said this for a long time, because our outside linebackers, once you take Adams out, they won't take anybody on. They have to be protected every down. That is Leonard and Okereke. Then what happens is they end up pinching those ends. And trying to force the ball out so that they can run it down because they won't take anybody on. They can't play through a blocker. And so what you're doing is you're allowing a lot of times easy angles, and you're taking Sheard and you're taking Houston, who are our 2 most physical players on defense. No question about it. Autry's right there, but Houston and Sheard are as tough an edge guys as you'll ever face in the National Football. It's proven not just week after week, year after year, and you're pinching those guys down inside to protect those 2 guys that are playing so soft at outside linebacker that all of a sudden you're giving up yardage to Lindsey and stuff up that alley that you shouldn't be. Now, on the other side of it, I thought Walker played his tail off. I really did. I think Walker is the one linebacker who really can hammer in there, who really can play the run and can play tough and is not just a loose play guy. And, and again, Adams is a much tougher outside linebacker than is Okereke. And I'm not sure if Speed didn't get the reps, I think he's a better prospect in some ways because he's much tougher, much more physical. So, I think that's something because this is a team that really shouldn't be able to run the ball for over 100 yards when they have nothing else. So, there's a lot of things to correct. And again, I have the Belichick mode. Just because you win the game, that's when more than ever you take a very aggressive and you take a very critical look at yourself and you make sure you don't let that happen again because the next 2 weeks, you're playing teams that you should beat. But if you don't bring that A game, you're playing with fire, and both of those teams could, particularly Pittsburgh could beat you at home.
So Rick Vincherry, Andy Moore, Automotive Group Hotline. He's brought to you by every Monday right here by the District Tap. I'm curious, do they need to have interest in a guy like Ryan Kerrigan or Vic Beasley as we approach the NFL trade deadline?
Well, I mean, I think you definitely have to have interest. I mean, they're 2 different kinds of guys. I mean, Kerrigan, I really like. Kerrigan is a guy that is very much like Houston. They're kind of all-purpose, not necessarily the fast edge guy, but, Kerrigan is the guy that's going to get you 13, 14 sacks a year. So very much, as a matter of fact, he's almost too much like Houston. You'd like to have something different on the other side. Now, Beasley was that guy as a rookie. He was Rookie of the Year. He had 15 sacks. He's just the opposite. He's a fast guy off the edge, but he's disappeared there. He just hasn't done anything in so long. But, definitely interested. And the other guy, though, I want to take my hat off to is the guy that's coming on, is the guy just the opposite of Okereke that I've liked since he was drafted, since I watched him on tape, is Banogu. Banogu is coming on, and the more he plays, I think the more you're going to see him do things well. He had the sack at the end, which was a hustle sack. It wasn't necessarily a beat you guy. Flacco's running around, has literally zero awareness. Never seen a guy that play that long that has no awareness of people around him. But Banogu always did that at TCU. He always ran 100,000% to the ball, and he just kept coming on that. He never stopped, and he got that nice sack at the end to put an exclamation point. But even better was the sack that he got early that we got taken away on the penalty I think it was a defensive holding or something, but he had that really good sack off the left side when he just pushed that left tackle down and ended up making the hit. So he could have had a 2-sack day. Plus, in that fourth quarter, he came in there on a Tex game, and he had an excellent knockdown on the quarterback, an excellent knockdown. So he's coming on, and I think the more he plays, really the more you're going to like him, particularly if you let him stay on that left side and maybe keep Houston on that right side.
Hey, Rick, somebody had asked me a little bit earlier if I thought that the Colts and the fan base especially would take Pittsburgh lightly because of their record. Of course, the Steelers 2-4, and they square off against the Dolphins later on tonight. But if you go back to 2008, the Colts are 1-5, and back in 2008 was their last win over Pittsburgh. So there is no reason whatsoever that this franchise should take the Steeler team next week lightly.
No, that's exactly right, John, and you're smart to bring that up. I mean, we have not had good history. Now, I will say this, though. This is not the Pittsburgh team that we've been playing for a while. I think they're very dangerous because I don't think their defense is as good as Denver. I don't think necessarily they have the ambience, but they have a busload of what I call two Tylenol guys. They've got a lot of good players on defense. Their edge guys with Watt and Dupree are really, really good. I think they got about 8 sacks between them, 7.5. Hayward and Hargrave, they're tough inside. I mean, they could get on Kelly. They're tough for Kelly because they're big physical guys that can push him back. Bush is having a rookie of the year. He was the AFC player of the week a couple weeks ago, with a fumble recovery for 6, a pick 6. He is a lot like Leonard, only faster. He's a guy that can run sideline to sidelines. His dad was a safety in the National Football League, and he's a real playmaker there. I think they've improved their secondary. They're going to get Nelson back, who they paid a lot of money for. They were really struggling for a couple of weeks. Whenever Artie Burns goes in the game, that's the guy you want to go after, and he played for a couple of weeks with Nelson out. But Nelson will be back opposite Hayden. I think Hilton's a really good nickel. They made a good move getting Fitzpatrick along with Edmonds at safety. So, that's a pretty talented, like I said, a bunch of two Tylenol guys. I think it's the one thing that I see is it's much more predictable Pittsburgh defense than it was under Dick LeBeau. They have totally watered it down over the years. There's things you can do to them with formations to make them very, very predictable, both on the run and the pass. There are things you can do to them. But again, you don't want to let them get in a lot of pass rush situations because they can actually get after you. Now the biggest problem they've had, and I can get into all the specifics that you want on both sides of the ball, but the biggest thing that's killed them is they've never recovered from the loss of the Killer Bees, and obviously the last to go was Big Ben with the injury. But you can dislike Antonio Brown, you can dislike Le'Veon Bell, and you can dislike Ben Roethlisberger, but those three guys were the big reason that they beat us all those times, and they're all history. And because of it, their offense has become anemic, like Denver. It's actually worse. If you really look at the numbers, John, it's actually worse on offense than the Broncos are. I would put one caveat to that, though. I do think that the one thing the Steelers have is a pretty damn good offensive line. They have a very good offensive line for their record, which will probably be 3-4. It's not going to be 2-5 when they get ready. They got a much better offensive line than does Denver and some of the teams, Atlanta, some of the teams that we feasted on here early. So I mean, they do have that going for them. Connor is he's a solid guy in everything. He runs hard. He's a pretty good receiver out of the backfield. I think he's got 26 catches. He's actually their leading receiver, which tells you the third thing is they're not very good on the perimeter. I mean, Juju was great as a number 2. He had a tremendous plus 1,000-yard year last year. He looked like the next great thing. but he hasn't got his feet in the ground as a one like he did a year ago. He just hasn't gotten the separation. Now they're going to move him around. They're going to see what happened to Yasin. And when you have a game like that, your helmet it has a red blinking light now in the NFL. They can't wait to get to you. So, they're going to move him around to try to create that matchup. They also do a lot of formation stuff, bunches and stacks, because none of their guys separate very well. That's one of their big problems, and it's certainly a problem for their quarterback. So I would say, one, you got to stop the run and squeeze Connor on the pass. Number two, you have to have a nice plan for Schuster if in the event they get him matched up and we can't handle him. I think you have to have a really good plan for bunches and stacks, because that's the only way they're going to get separation. They've got a bad perimeter offensive football team. And then number three, they've gone to a lot of gimmicks, and you just have to make sure you're okay on those and don't let any of those get you. They run a lot of speed sweeps, reverses, an unusual amount of shovel passes, and then they'll put the Samuels kid back there, number 38, in the Wildcat, and they'll get some mileage out of that. And that all those gimmicks are results really of their haplessness on trying to be a normal football team, because that really hasn't worked. So, I think that's really, really critical, in that regard. And then, I think, dominate special situations like we've done a good job of. They're 28th in the red zone, 21st on third down, and 21st on the pass. So we dominate there. And then I think if you do get them behind in the count, and I will say this, I think that Mason Rudolph is a much better athlete than Flacco. So, I give him the advantage of the offensive line and a quarterback who can move around even though he's coming off the concussion. We'll see tonight what he looks like and what their team looks like. But he is a much better athlete. He can get out of a little trouble. But this is a team, if I had to get a game plan for them, if I get ahead in the count, I'm going to bring a lot of pressure because I don't fear their perimeter players. I'm going to bring extra pressure and isolate people. I'm going to put Autry over there on the left guard, Foster. I think Foster's a really good run player, but I think he can be handled with athleticism. Same thing with their right tackle. I would get on him with Banagoo and get him. And then what I would do with Houston, even though Villanueva has really improved, I still think you can jab inside and run his edge. I still think he has stiffness in his body if they have to protect. Now, they're a good run-blocking team. Pittsburgh always has been. So, those are the critical things on that side of the ball. And then on the other side of the ball, again, I think you can get their defense in predictable situations. They're what we call an 8-cover team, which is quarters to the strong side and half to the weak side. But you can get in formations, open them up in base, make Watt and Dupree walk out, make them get out in space. That's not their game. Use your RPOs so if they come off that overhang and blitz, you can throw that ball really quick. They like to, if they're not playing cover 8, and if they are playing cover 8, you want to hit over the post. You want to go over the post because their strong safety will fill. That's where Palamahu played for so long. That guy is a filler. He's going to come right now, Edmonds. So you're going to end up getting a lot of one-on-one on that strong side corner. On the weak side, they're going to be in a form of cover 2, so play action seams are there. You want to kind of work the ball to the weak side because most of their pressure comes from the field, so you're always a little bit better off working to the weak side. Get back in what I call 2x2 and on that underside and pound back there. And then players, make sure that when we do throw the ball, we have those edges secure, because I think Watt off our right side and Dupree off our left side are two very good guys. Make sure that Kelly and Glowinski are ready for a big battle in there with Hayward and Hargrave. Okay, and then, work some scheme stuff. Those linebackers, Barron, Williams, and Bush, they are very, very active with their safety, very vulnerable, again, to play pass. Be careful with Hilton at nickel. He's one of the best nickels in the league. He's a very good football player. And then on third down, be ready for a lot of exotics. That's where they do get a little complicated and a little tricky, and they like a lot of two-man, a lot of man under. So, you got to be alert for that. And I would say in general, after what's been happening to us for 3 weeks, we've got to be ready for a heavy five-man rush, man-to-man lock-on. I mean, I think that's going to be the moment of truth for us. That's the way people are being more and more effective stopping the run and pressure in the pass.
And the Colts at 5-2 atop arguably the best division in the NFL. Arguably the best division in the NFL right now, from the looks of things. Man, you're always awesome. That is fantastic right there from top to bottom. I don't even know where else to go, what else to add. My brother, awesome as usual. I appreciate you, and we'll talk throughout the course of the week and get everybody set periodically for the Steelers coming up on Sunday.
All right, John. Like you said, that AFC South was really tough over the weekend. So, I think actually Tannehill makes them a little bit better at Tennessee because they now actually have an NFL drop-back passer there. So you're exactly right on that. So we will talk all week, man. You have a good one.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it, Rick. Rick Venturi on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. He is brought to you by the District Tap. All right, I went a little bit earlier today because we got to bail here shortly. Go to Colts Roundtable Live. That's Matt Taylor, Jim Sorgi, Joe Wrights, and Frank Wright coming up here at the bottom of the hour because we've got Pacers-Pistons. Game 3 of the season for the Pacers on the road in Detroit, 6:30. Pat Boylan has your pregame coverage right there. I do owe you this at 239-1070 right now, guys. You want to give away a pair of tickets to the Chainsmokers. Chainsmokers coming to the Bankers Life Fieldhouse on November the 7th, number 10 at 239-1070. Number 10 at 239-1070. You will be going to see the Chainsmokers. I'll be completely honest with you. I'd like to see that myself. Monday Night Football coming up later on tonight, of course, so we'll have a recap if you care about that whatsoever coming up on tomorrow's show, and we will talk a lot about the Pacers and that Game 3 against the Pistons coming up later on tonight and see if the Pacers can get on the winning track in their third game of the season. Beaten by Detroit last Wednesday and beyond handled by Andre Drummond. We'll see if they can get that win and do anything with the big fella and the Pistons uniform coming up later on tonight. And, of course, so we'll get you set for a lot more college football later on this week. We'll get you set for IU and Northwestern coming up on Saturday evening and a lot more for you. That is coming up tomorrow's show. Cannot wait. All right, coming up next, Colts Roundtable Live and a lot more for you. Pacers-Pistons after that on 93.5 and 107.5 FM The Fan.
Listen every week during Colts season for the Beef Up Front Report with Big Joe Stasiak. Brought to you by Anthony's Chop House in Carmel at Main and the Monon.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly. At thehomeloanexpert.com, we have loans for about everyone. We do refinances where you can pull cash out and pay off all your credit cards. We do purchase loans and can put you in your new dream home in as little as 14 days. We have loans that require no down payment. And at thehomeloanexpert.com, you're going to get a lower rate and customer service that no one can match. The 5-minute loan approval only available at thehomeloanexpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Hey, John for PAI, WeGrowHairIndy.com, 888-724-5129. The real growth of your hair, inspired with PRP, platelet-rich plasma with PAI. I'm telling you, it can work, and it's all real. Nothing fake about it. 888-724-5129 or WeGrowHairIndy.com today.
Hey, this is Dan Dockage for Steffi Hadaway Insurance. Did you know Steffi Hadaway sells life insurance? If you're like a lot of people and think you've waited too long or can't afford a life insurance policy, then you should talk to Mike Steffi and his team at Steffi Hadaway Insurance. They represent dozens of life insurance companies who can tailor a life insurance policy to meet your needs and fit your budget. Call Steffi Hadaway at 317-334-3743 today or shiagency.com.
Monday Night Football in Pittsburgh between the Steelers and the Dolphins. Steelers heavy favorites going into this one. Steve Berry from the Sports Plus Network. What do you like?
Joey, this is going to be an interesting game. Miami coming into Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh laying 14. The total's 43. Miami not going anywhere this year, and Pittsburgh is right behind them. But just remember this, even in these big line games, every game is a money-making opportunity. Be very wary of huge lines. Last Thursday, Minnesota minus 17, only won 19-9. Now, these big lines can go either way. If you called us on Monday last week, you got the easy winner, New England, New York Jet, 33-0. Very, very easy winner. Guys, make the call. We'll tell you who's going to win. We'll tell you why they're going to win. This can be a money-making opportunity. Give us a call, 1-888-895-6555. Miami-Pittsburgh winner at no charge from Sports Plus Network.
No problem. Erectile dysfunction? No problem. Premature issues or low testosterone? No problem. We can help. In just one visit to the Indianapolis Men's Clinic, we can treat your erectile dysfunction or premature issues. It's what we do all day, every day. Stop waiting. Stop being disappointed.